all I know, I make it look easy. Yeah. Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say, I got him picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life, I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot, wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this go up. You know it's all net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get dangerous. Cause it can get dangerous. Cause it can get dangerous. Ay, please don't play no games with me, I promise I'm too much. Ay, I can never let up even if you had enough. Ay, this ain't for the faint of heart, we always playing rough. I had enough, it ain't luck. I needed a vision, I needed ambition, I needed a mission to beat in submission with no intermission. I see the collision, the crash in the distance ain't coming off track, no. Now when they ask what's the motive, don't talk about the show them. They all about to see what I mean in the moment. I gotta keep going, I'm shaking the dice and I'm keeping it rolling. They already know. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get dangerous. Cause it can get dangerous. Cause it can get dangerous.
Salute, 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 ATP. Yeah, this thing is acting funny. This thing is acting funny, man. But yeah, let's clap it up one time. Let's clap it up. What is this thing doing? In what world? Oh my goodness. Is this thing malfunctioning? That's crazy. Salute ATP. What's good, man? I do not know what this thing is doing right now. It's doing its own thing. It's doing its own thing. Yeah, Restream, you about to catch the boot, bro. It's about to be a wrap for you guys. You guys are worse than I thought you'd be. I'm not gonna lie. Got me looking crazy up here. And the stream is the stream freezing? I hope it's not. What's good with everybody in the building, man? Salute, salute, salute. I apologize for the technical malfunctions. Yeah, man, this thing is diabolical, man. Salute to everybody who's in the building. There we go. That decided to come up. Salute to everybody who's in the building, man. Clap it up for you guys. Boxing talk. Happy holidays to everybody who celebrates the holidays, man. It's the day after. I purposely didn't come up yesterday. Yesterday, normally I would come up about 3 o'clock and do my thing, but I figured you guys were taking time with your family and doing all those things. So, you know, I figured football and all those things were happening. So, but we dialed in today, right? Wanted to talk about the welterweight division a little bit today, the future of the welterweight division at least, and where it's at right now. Obviously, on the back of Devin Haney doing what he's done over the weekend, and you know, all types of things circulating now. Bill wants to see Rolly Romero next, which I think is a great fight stylistically. I think it's a fight that gives Devin Haney an opportunity to continue to melt with his team and show us what they've been working on. And you know, Rolly Romero's looked exceptionally. Looks like that division fits him pretty well, right? That 147-pound division. We've seen a different Rolly Romero in that division. Needless to say who I favor or don't favor, I just think stylistically, as far as a fight is concerned, that's a great fight to happen. That's especially putting a unification on it makes it even better. Rumors circulating about Shakur Stevenson, what he's going to be doing, but obviously the next fight in front of him looks like it's going to be Teofimo Lopez. I'm not sure if that's been announced in an actual official way, but it does seem like that's what's rumbling in the boxing space as far as what we gotta look forward to, right? Is to see these guys figure it out, and that'll be a fight at 140 pounds. And we'll talk about Shakur Stevenson and if he potentially could find his way up into 147-pound division as well. We'll talk about why, and we'll talk about if it makes sense. I know Shakur Stevenson has spoken about 135 being his division. He feels like that's the division he's supposed to be at. But look, he's looking to fight Teofimo Lopez and challenge himself at 140 pounds or hold the belt there if he wins that fight. And he's even talked about fighting Conor Benn at 147. So we'll talk about the potential of him potentially being at 147. Fights, money makes a big difference, right? Signature fights, legacy, a lot of things up there potentially for him at 147. If he sees it feasible, that could do a lot for the division as well. We'll talk about the future of 147, and we'll also take a look at 135 a little bit and talk about that playing field, but also focusing on the fights that are coming up today. We have Pro Box. Well, not really today. We ain't talk about that too much today, but we'll talk about really the Isak Cruz and Pitbull card coming up next week, and that card is a pretty stacked card as well. PBC will be putting that card on. We'll see a unification in the middleweight division between Janabek and Erislandy Lara. We'll, of course, see Isak and Pitbull Cruz. Shane Mosley Jr., Jesus Ramos will be on that card as well, right? And, of course, a title fight right there at 130. We'll see O'Shaquie Foster and Stephen Fulton there next week. We're getting closer and closer and closer to it. My last week's picks went okay outside of the Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr. pick, but, man, it is what it is, right? But we'll talk about all of that. And if the time permits, we'll definitely open up the panel as well and speak to the boxing space. Hope everybody is in a great space. Who's in the building, man? Not a lot of people know. I know there's a lot. I was just on the Boxing Voice. Shout out to Ness and them over there. And we were talking to Mickey Bay. Had an opportunity to build with Bay a little bit. If you guys don't know who Mickey Bay is, he was in Devin Haney's corner. But, a lot was spoken about as far as Devin Haney's team, right, at the end of this fight. Seeing that performance from Devin Haney, I think in the post-fight press conference, a lot of people just want to acknowledge the extra pieces that were moved in the background behind Devin Haney to know Devin Haney wasn't out there just not only a phenomenon on his own accord, but the fact that the correct team being around Devin Haney made the biggest difference in the performance we saw from Devin Haney. And Mickey Bay gave a lot of perspective on things before the fight, and then even things on hindsight looking back at the fight. That was an interesting conversation. And shout out to Ness for allowing me to be part of that conversation, the Boxing Voice. That's always a great opportunity to go up there and build up there. It's always a great opportunity that I'm going to take, right? When I have the opportunity, when I have the time. So, but that was an interesting point of perspective for Mickey Bay, because as I stated, somebody who, for whatever, we don't have to argue about it. I picked Brian Norman Jr. to win that fight. And I thought that had a lot to do with, Devin Haney not potentially, just obviously his past couple of fights, right? Just kind of speaking from that point of view, and just knowing that he had an uphill battle, and giving Brian Norman Jr. just the advantage of the age and the leverage of the momentum he was taking into the fight with the victories and the knockouts and things of that nature. But listen, man, you live and you learn, right? Devin Haney surprised me, but at the same time didn't surprise me, right? Hindsight says that on paper, that's kind of the performance he was supposed to give, and we knew he was capable of doing that. I've always stated I thought Brian Norman Jr. fell more short of the expectations than Devin Haney passing the expectations, right? Exceeding the expectations. But that was interesting, right? And that just part of the conversation, the 147-pound division looking like it's going to be top heavy as far as talent is concerned. There's a lot of parts moving around at 147. And as far as American boxing is concerned, looks like it's going to be one of those divisions that can put American boxing back on the forefront of boxing conversations. The welterweight division's always been one of those divisions, right, that we look forward to seeing it be that way. Back when Errol Spence was the unified champion, Terrence Crawford was holding a WBO title, and there were other fighters in the division as well, even before Terrence got his title and before Errol Spence became unified. When you think about Keith Thurman and the Danny Garcias and the Sean Porters and a lot of other fighters that were just in the division, 147 was one of those divisions, and obviously, you know, the home of Floyd Mayweather and the Manny Pacquiao's at one point in time as well. So to see this division coming back the way I see it right now, definitely thought it was something worth talking about, right? Because the division has become more interesting with Devin Haney there in the division now, holding a title, makes it interesting. But then you add these other parts to it. You add Rolly Romero, you add his personality, you add his explosive, the explosive energy he brings into the ring, the way he fights stylistically. You bring in Ryan Garcia, who, you know, came off of a loss against Rolly Romero, and we know we don't have to get into the politics of the sport as far as Ryan Garcia getting another opportunity to become a champion off of a loss. That's one conversation. But the other conversation is, if Ryan Garcia can dial in, if he can become, if he can get back to his boxing and taking it seriously, and if he can find some consistency about him, and he can pick up, more importantly, probably this title off of Mario Barrios, then that just adds another layer of intrigue to the division, right? It just adds another layer to it. Makes it make more sense with the Devin Haney situation, of course. And then you have these other parts, the 140 pounders that are competing right now, that probably need to consider, or are considering, making their own move as well to make their way out of 140 to come up into the 147 pound division, namely the Teofimo Lopez's, the Richardson Hitchens, and maybe, just maybe, a Shakur Stevenson might be interested in getting involved in that as well. So 147 looks like it's going to get very, very interesting, right? Salute to everybody who's in the building right now. Let me see, HLD, what you got going on right now? The only thing that surprised me was Devin dropping Norman Jr. was able to protect his chin for 12 rounds and getting hit clean. The rest was more Norman. Yeah, for sure, right? 100%. Salute to HLD. And salute to everybody who's in the building. Salute to the wifey in the building, letting y'all know to do the right thing, which is hit that like button when you're stepping into the building. SOBTV 52 says, salute Claymore, blessings, let's build for sure, man. Mine yours in the building says, salute Clay, aka the Rain Man. Yeah, I like that, man. Spiritual Ministry, how you doing, Queen? Peace to you and yours, man. Hope everything is good, man, with you. Adam T2R19 in the building says, Brandon Lee moved to welter. Well, yes, Brandon Lee's another person. I don't know why nobody will fight him. You know, risk reward, right? But all these guys are in the conversation, right? All these guys are in the conversation, and they all add to the intrigue of the division, which, like I said, specifically this channel, clearly an American boxing channel, right? Boxing is a world level sport, world championship boxing, but I think it's safe to say that the lion's share of the audience that steps into the building here is interested in American boxing, right? More than other boxing is concerned, right? But American boxing's been on that trajectory. It just hasn't been what it used to be. And these divisions that used to be big stages for American boxing just haven't been living up to it. As boxing's become even more international now, especially when you bring in the Eastern Europeans into the conversation, their presence is felt everywhere, right? But this particular division, the welterweight division right now, looks like it's going to be stacked in the direction of us seeing some great things happening. For sure, Sid Smith, Tiger Johnson is definitely on the list of up-and-coming 147 pounders, a guy who moved from 140 to 147, who just come off a spectacular performance against Nicholas Floss, and we saw what he did, and we can only imagine with his pedigree what he brings in there, the kind of dancing partner he would be for some of the biggest fights at 147. Even the Rohan Polancos, right, obviously is a name as well that's circulating in space. We just watched Jack Catterall come off a stellar performance against Echo Usman, and that's going to be interesting. We're going to see Conor Benn make his way down from 160 as he plans on stepping into the 147-pound division. And we're going to see what he's able to bring to the table, right? Great dance partners, big shows, and we got great American contenders in the conversation who can hold it down. We got champions in the conversation, obviously, and we got great dance partners across the board in the division. I'm interested in seeing, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm interested in seeing what Shakur Stevenson will ultimately decide to do. You know, I think he's definitely Shakur Stevenson is a fighter who just needs that right dance partner to be part of one of the biggest fights in boxing. Obviously, the Tank Davis fight was a fight that we all saw as going to be one of the biggest fights that the boxing space wanted to see, but Tank Davis is he's moving to the beat of a different drum right now, presently dealing with his personal situations. He's holding a title that I've already gone on record to speak on and say that I think he needs to, I mean, one of three things. Either he vacates the title, four things. He vacates, he defends, he's put in recess, or he's stripped, right? Either way, when it comes to that conversation about that title, something needs to come full circle at some point when it comes to that conversation. But that being said, Shakur Stevenson, without that dance partner at 135, I mean, I'm sure you guys could imagine him being in the ring with an Abdullah Mason now, who's just become a champion there. But there's argument there to say that Abdullah Mason is young, doesn't have the following, and if Shakur is truly trying to be part of the biggest fights possible as far as money, as far as notoriety is concerned, how much notoriety does he get fighting Abdullah Mason in comparison to the opportunities that are seemingly there outside of his division, right? Inside of his division, what at 135 really checks the boxes for Shakur Stevenson? There's great fights as a boxing fan we'd get behind seeing, but if Shakur's looking for the biggest fights, I think without a doubt, it's at this point for me, I think it's outside of 135. 140 could very well check the boxes for him. I could see him in there with a Gary Antoine Russell or a Subriel Matias or a Lamont Roach up there. There are fights for him to make up there, but 147 does seem to have a little bit, it seems to be a little bit more interesting up there. And I wouldn't expect him to just go all the way up there and just get right into it. But if he's willing to fight Conor Ben at 147, and I know there's a skill difference, there's an argument there to say that he can acclimate to the division and compete at that level. And Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson would definitely be a huge fight. Shakur Stevenson versus Ryan Garcia, huge fight, right? These are big fights, man. It is what it is, man. Shout out to Sid Smith in the building, says Power for sure. Liam Power is definitely part of that conversation. HLD says Tiger Johnson has a great opportunity to petition Top Rank to fight Polanco in the co-main of Xander versus Bowers on January 31st, but seems to be doing the Virgil Ortiz scared of Puerto Rico. Hey, man, yeah, once you start getting into these conversations, the moves become it's chess, not checkers, right? So yeah, man. I mean, that would be a great fight. I think Tiger Johnson's versus Rohan Polanco would be a great fight, especially on a card like that. I don't know where the card would be. Top Rank needs to kind of figure that out as well. Until that whole entire network situation is really just ironed out and makes sense. We got to see how Top Rank plans on approaching that. Because even right now, at this moment, I don't even know where the Xander Zayas versus Abbas Baharu fight would be shown as far as network is concerned. Is it going to be on Facebook? Is it going to be on Tubi? Is it going to be, where's it going to be at? You know what I mean? And how's Top Rank plan on going into 2026? Because they seem to be homeless, right? They seem to be homeless, man. It is what it is, right? So 147 looks like it's going to be very interesting, man. Shakur has this fight right now with Teofimo in front of him, and on the back end of that, he's gone into the space talking about fighting Conor Ben at 147. Conor Ben seems to be ready to do that as well if Shakur is serious, and I don't take him to be somebody who's not going to be serious about his craft. So we'll see what he does at the end of that. 2026 probably will be two fights for Shakur Stevenson with his frail hands. Respectfully, of course, he probably doesn't want to be too active in the same year, but 2020, at the end of 2026, does he come into 2027 looking to make a move in the welterweight division? And do we expect Devin Haney and the supporting cast to still be there? I think for the most part, right? For the most part, when you look at 147, it looks like everybody who's there is pretty comfortable being there. And it looks like the division, that being said, has a bright future. You add those pieces to it. Teofimo Lopez, if he decides to make a move to 147, how interesting can that become as well? And Richard Hitchens looks like he's just waiting on the right fight to bring himself into the division, because he doesn't seem to be very excited about being active at 140. Doesn't seem to be interested in that division at all, unifications or anything in between. So you bring those guys into it, and what do you got? You got a very high octane hornet's nest of a division at 147, similar to a 154 division, right? Which is a hornet's nest as well. But is 154 dominated by is that the American boxing division, maybe, right? I mean, off top of my head, right? You obviously have the champions there in Xander Zayas. I mean, he's Puerto Rican and I mean, that's America, right? That's an American champion. You've got Sebastian Fundora, that's an American champion. You've got Bakram, that's an Eastern European champion. And then who am I missing here? Who am I missing from there from 154? Who's the other champion? Is that? Oh yeah, and of course, what's my guy's name? Crocker, right? Lewis Crocker, right? Is a champion in the division as well. So, but the welterweight division in particular seems like it's going to be even more interesting, to be honest with you. Shout out to my guy Ray Davis in the building. Ray, what's good? What's good, man?
Goody. Yo, what the heck?
Yeah, what's going on with your mouthpiece, bro?
Bro, that's crazy. I don't know, but that's diabolical. Hold on. Let me come. Yo, look like I ate something.
Crazy.
Let me see. Yo, what the hell? It's like
something going on.
It's even on my hands. Look, it's like something. Hold on, let me check.
Yeah, something to go with your filter, man. You got something going on with your filter.
Yeah, that's diabolical.
Crazy.
I was like, yo, what the heck? I was like, yo, am I eating something? I ain't even eating nothing. That's diabolical. Anyway,
it is what it is, man. How you doing, man?
Still see it. Yeah, bro, this is crazy.
Yeah, something to the filter.
Let me go out and come back in, Clay. Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, go out and come back in. That look wild.
Yeah, dude, look like a vampire and shit.
Yeah, it look like you kind of like you look like you're freezing, like you're dealing with some frostbite, like you about to be frostbit or something.
Yo, and this shit is I can't even let me log out. Really quick.
Yeah, go ahead and come back in, man. Go out and come back in. That looks crazy. Let me see here. Mine yours says see Bud training Kerr. We're gonna see an even better Kerr. That offense gonna be on point. We're gonna see the torch be handed, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I think these fighters, you're on that same time, Ray. I ain't gonna lie, I'm pull you up, show you, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, I see it. Yo, what the? Hold on, maybe it's my camera.
It's a camera. It's a camera. Look in the settings or something.
Oh,
look in the settings.
I did. I might. Let me see here.
It's not just used like the boxing glove behind.
Oh, hold on. Oh, I see why. Hold on, I think.
Okay, there you go.
It's better.
Well, now you got white. Now you look like a crackhead or something.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, all right, there we go.
There you go. All right, you figured that out.
Yo, that's crazy, bro. I'm like, yo, Clay. I was looking at it like, yo, what?
Yeah, that was looking crazy. I'm not going to even lie to you. I didn't even know how to. I didn't even know how to.
Listen, everybody, y'all can use that as any type of clickbait y'all want. That's hilarious. My bad.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
But yeah, it was good, man. I hear you talking, man. It was a good show. Good interviews, man. Good questions, Clay.
What do you think about what Bay was saying, though, man? Because he's been talking so much about for a long time. Mickey Bay's been talking about how much he wanted to get back to being part of that Devin Haney. He just saw something in Devin Haney that he feels like everybody else hasn't had the opportunity to see. He felt like, Devin. He felt like he could bring the best out of Devin. Do you think he's right? Do you think he's bringing the best out of him right now?
Yes. Why? Because they're one and the same, Clay. And I think when you one in the same, I mean, he mentioned it, right? They came out of the same camp. They trained by Floyd Mayweather Sr. They have a lot in common. And you're starting to see the Dev that we've seen with Linares prior to the punch, right? And I think he even touched base on that. Yo, that's diabolical, Bubs, bro. Like, that's just disgusting, bro. Come on, man. You got to take that down. Remove that. That's crazy. You got women in the chat, dog. Like, be respectful, homie. I get it, but
go ahead, man. Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, man, it's just like you're sitting there and you're hearing this guy talking and how he believed, and you always heard him talk about it. I heard him on the Boxer Voice, Blue Blood. I heard him talking on Mill City. I think you even interviewed him once, but it's just the fact that you just always heard him say like such promising things, such amazing things about Devin that people just didn't believe. And I mean, I've always seen it. You know what I mean? No, all jokes aside, I've always seen Devin's promise in the boxing, and I've seen the attributes. And a lot of people fell short of seeing it because of the challenge. I mean, obviously, we know the contemporaries in the division at the time at 135. We know him at 140. But, the 135 one's kind of stuck with him his whole career because that's where he was campaigning at the longest. So that whole time, you've seen why the Tiafimos kept away from him. You see why the other artists down there stayed away from him. Sorry, HLD. I didn't mean to throw Tio under the bus, but I'm just keeping it real. you see why Shakur only waited till he knew he was weight drained to really try to get that fight and things of that nature. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. So, yeah, okay. I mean, it is what it is. I hear
What
you.
do you mean he waited until he was weight drained? What does that mean?
Listen, Clay.
I think that's weird. I just think that's weird. I don't think that's fair to
the advantage. And listen, I'm not taking nothing away from Shakur's skill set, right?
If you're saying he waited for him to be drained to try
he
to
knew,
grow, he didn't wait. He took it when
they had conversations, Clay. They were boys. They were having conversations, Clay. And when Shakur offered to fight to Devin, he had a clear opportunity to go, you know what I mean, to do what he wanted to do. He knew.
So why didn't he take the fight then? Why did he sabotage the fight if he waited for him to be waiting to trial? Which one is it? Did he?
Well, listen. Here's what it was. It's the risk versus reward at that point, right? He was like, "Yo, I'll starve myself, but you're gonna have to take this much, right?" And Shakur said no. Shakur kicked himself in the butt.
Yeah, you just said Shakur waited for him to be weight drained to try to fight him, but now you're saying that
that's not all right. Let me reestablish that point, because I think my words were misconstrued. All right. So what I'm saying is he knew it was the right time. Like, he moved up in the division anyway. He was already granted the mandatory spot. You know what I mean? All those things were going in his direction. But the call-outs and all that, because Bob, you got to remember, Bob Arum was on the tail end of this, pushing this forward. I don't think Shakur had any ill ways of fighting Devin. He didn't want to fight Devin at the time. He wanted to get acclimated to the division, but they tried to force that fight right away. And that was Bob. Bob knew he had the wounded warrior. So I should take it out of Shakur's hands and put that more into Bob's hands, because Bob had him climbing that ring to try to call out Devin. You know what I mean? Bob did that, because they don't let people in the ring at Top Rank. I don't know if you ever noticed that. They don't let people climb in that ring. So when he got in that ring, it was planned. They seen that man was drained fighting Loma at that time. He said he would have took the fight, right? He made an offer, and they didn't want the offer. I'm not mad at it or whatever. It is what it is. So, you know, he moved on, and here we are now. So I hope they meet. I always said they was going to meet at 147. I just thought it was a bunch of malarkey. You know what I mean? They boys, they boxers. I don't think anybody's afraid of anybody. You know what I mean? Let's be clear. Well, I don't think any of them are afraid of each other. Like, when I heard HLD say something about Polanco and Tiger Johnson. Tiger Johnson ain't afraid, and Polanco ain't afraid, bro. They boxers, they fighters. That's what they do. They believe they're the biggest chef in the kitchen, bro. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I'm just keeping it real. So it's the same thing with Shakur and Dev. I don't think they're afraid of each other. I just think the timing was perfect for him to really call out Devin when he had an idea that Devin was moving up. That's why he put all that all that video and stuff out, that, you know what I mean, that clipped up video about, oh, we're going to 40 when, or we're moving up when they get shot in here. It is what it is. I mean, Bill explained that, but it's just crazy. But just to be to the point of, yeah, I mean, Shakur moving to 147 would be great. That would be great for boxing. And all that being said, and everything you asked was great. I just don't think there's anybody out there, Clay, that really can stop Debo right now. I really don't. I think Shakur would be his biggest test, if you ask me. Maybe Antoine Russell, if he moves up, that'd be a good test too. But other than that, I don't see too many people moving up, messing with this guy, man, in the division, or that's there. But it is getting great again. It is getting great again. I'm glad you touched on that earlier, because I want to elaborate on that. So you touching in on that division getting hot is bringing it back to the U.S. market. It having the stars align, because I think when Boots was there, it was a dead spot, right? Because no one wanted to really fight Boots. We've seen the money issues. We've seen the situation where if they did want to fight Boots, they needed to get paid a certain tier. You've seen the belts being moved a different direction. People, promotional companies on stalemate, and fighters having to go and jump ship and fight other places. So, and not fight their contemporaries, champions. So now I think it's open policy, you know what I mean, with Boots moving up. And that doesn't mean that everyone was scared of Boots. It just means that Boots wasn't going to fight nobody that was really a tough guy, because he wasn't going to go down into the rankings to get a fight unless it was somebody he knew he can beat. And at the same time, the champions and the people that were in the higher part of the rankings wasn't going to take the opportunity to fight him unless they got paid, because they knew the risk. So, you know, with him moving up, it opened up the division. It looks like it's going to bounce back, and I like the glory days of welterweight. I like everything you built upon on that. But go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, at the end of the day, the division looks like it's coming together, and I can kind of see the writing on the wall. We spoke a little bit about Shakur coming up to 147 and whether or not he'd be willing to or not. I think it's something he has to that he should entertain. Now, staying out of Devin Haney's way, or making it all about Devin Haney is not necessarily the only thing there. If he's going to go up to 147, then you would think that he would see a future for himself at Devin at 147, not just fighting Devin Haney, fighting everybody else is there as well. The Ryan Garcias, of the Rolly Romeros, the Brian Norman Juniors, right? Whoever's up there, the Tiger Johnsons, these fighters that are up there, is Shakur. Does Shakur see himself going up to 147 and competing at a high level with a lot of guys? Just right now, looking at it, it'd be perceived that they'd be bigger than him, right? Because the way he sells it is like 135 is where he should be, that he's too small for those other divisions. Do you think he's too small for 147?
Shakur?
Yeah.
No, man. Shakur walks around like 165. I keep telling y'all, I see Shakur multiple times. Him and Devin like the same size. He's a little shorter than Devin. They're like the same size. Shakur just makes weight better because of his frame. Devin has a bigger like shoulder, how do you say, wingspan or back? I don't know how to say it, but his like shoulder area is a little wider, so he's carrying more weight. It's almost like Abdullah Mason and somebody else that's probably his size, right? Abdullah Mason is like looks like a welterweight at 135. Did we not discuss that before? Devin was the same way. He's like a bigger fighter. So yes, it's gonna, people fill out different, and some people can make weight when they're younger, but when they start getting older, man, and that weight starts getting into your shoulders and your arms, it changes. You can't lose it as much because of the situation. So I think Shakur is just, he's a little bit more boxer build. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Like, he doesn't have like a wide swimmer shoulder or basketball shoulder. He has more of a slender like boxer build. So I think he makes the weight better, and his determination and healthy habits. I mean, that's also a part of it. But your chemical balance is your chemical balance. You can't really make up for that, Clay.
Yeah. I think it would be great for him to go up there, man. And once again, when you add the Richardson Hitchens and the Tiafimos and those guys, they're great dance partners. You know what I'm saying? Great fights that can be made there, as well. So I'll be looking forward to see what they do with that and how they carry that. And meanwhile, at 135 pounds, and did you see Toya? I love Toya.
Yes. Shout out to Toya, man.
You see what she was saying? That was crazy.
Listen, I told you she was up there building, but you was listening anyway, because we was on the phone at the time.
Right.
Yeah. She was on her shit, and I'm glad she spoke up. I wish Bubs would take some advice. Got to throw my shots back.
Man, as a fan of the sport, right? And I love what you said was heartfelt, right? Because she basically saying that she came in to boxing because of Tank, right?
Yeah.
And we know Toya is one of the biggest Tank Davis fans in the space.
Right.
I mean, she's one of them, right? One of many. And to hear her kind of just say, "Listen, man," it just sounded to me, from the outside looking in, it sounded like she was done. She came in here to see him fight, to challenge himself, and she's watching his peers do the thing that she's waiting for him to do, and it just seems like he's digging himself deeper into this other lane that doesn't involve him being inside the ring. But that being said, shout out to Ness and the Boxer Voice. They were talking about the whole champion in recess, or the WBA stripping him of the title, which. Listen, man, the writing was on the wall, right? I think the moment he made that Jake Paul fight, rather than even just get that draw kind of figured out between him and Lamont Roach, he showed his lack of interest in the sport. And that's when, I started talking about this about a month and a half ago, right? With Blue Blood, just talking about, if he's not going to defend the titles, vacating, putting those titles out there, circulating those titles in the right way so that the division doesn't suffer. And I think it is coming to that point right now of trying to figure out what Tank wants to do. But watching her talk on it, I was like, damn, that was just crazy. You know what I mean? It wasn't crazy, but, I guess it was refreshing to a degree as well, because that's all you want the fans of any fighter to do. You want the fans of any fighter to put boxing before the fighter, right? To say that, listen, you're here. we're supporting you because we see the talent you have, but don't get it twisted. It's because of what you're doing inside the ring that we're fans of you. We're not linked to you at the hip to be caught up in your personal ambitions outside of the ring. And it's getting to that point, I think, with him, right? I mean, where are you at with it?
I think so. I think it's getting to the point where fans will start moving forward, moving different ways because of the things that are going on, situations. Especially, like I told you, I think I was listening to a chat the other day, and I heard some of the fans saying the same thing, a similar thing, Clay, and they were like, if this is true, I mean, of course, it's always if it's true, right? Whatever, I get it. You're innocent until proven guilty. I get the whole notion, but he's going to have to face time and this and that. No one's saying, like Toya said, listen, I'm moving on. This guy ain't doing what I want him to do. They never kept it boxing. You know what I mean? They kept it outside of boxing. And she kept it on real time. Like, yo, he ain't doing what everybody's supposed to do. I defended homie. Like, I literally was on the ground he brought me into the game. I started watching other fighters because of this dude. Like, he took me back to something I'd never seen before. And then I started appreciating the sport for what it was. Now that I've seen certain things play out with certain fighters and they're moving and they're making these fights happen amongst each other and trying to be great. I mean, they're really making it to be great. They're unifying. They're not talking about belts don't matter and holding on to them. They're not talking about it's only cash. I mean? It's a cash business and we're trying to milk the cow and get all this money and we're still holding on to belts. Her thing was, I want to see the fight. And if you're not going to fight the best, then why are you here? Because now that I start thinking about it, I start looking, because I can hear what she was saying. When I start looking at all those fights you had, they're not amounting to anything. They're not showing me anything. Yes, you had a couple of fights that were good. You know what I mean? No one's going to sit there and say that you're garbage. I don't think it takes garbage to say the least. I don't think she was saying that. She was just saying she's disappointed because his contemporaries are all moving up. His contemporaries are all taking on the best fights, the fights that he should have took on from years ago. And I think that's starting to play a part in her head, and she's starting to realize, like, these guys are moving past him, and this guy's sitting stalemate. He's not moving. And then all the stuff going around, how can I support somebody that's probably his – I mean, even the guy that he just fought that he brought up that gave him trouble, he didn't even rematch him. He went into another fight with a YouTuber at a larger weight, but then his contemporary sitting at larger weights, he's refusing to fight. So it makes a lot of sense how it's moving, Clay, and how it plays a part. And I think she was on point. She hit the nail on the head, man. I give her props.
Yeah, I think she spoke to it. You know what I mean? And like I see people, the allergy and the people who just want the conversation to just I don't know what it is with people, you know what I'm saying, but something tickles them in a negative way when you bring this topic up. But there's a relevance to the topic because we're talking about the 135 division and we're talking about that WBA title, and we're talking about a fan who I know is a bigger fan than most fans are of Tank Davis, and just and shout out to the Boxing Voice because they were just talking about it today, and we talked about this like 2 months ago, but like I said, seeing the writing on the wall. The division he needs to move forward. Even Shakur Stevenson right now, for all intent purposes, looking outside of the division to make his biggest fights, right? Because there's nothing for him at 135. The division seems to be a little bit stale, right? And you would have put that on the back of Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Tank Davis to give that division the energy that it needed to move forward. And it's not going to happen, right? Meanwhile, you got somebody who's holding the title but has no interest in defending the title.
Right.
I thought it was interesting to see that happen. But the rest of the division is doing what it needs to do. As far as Abdullah Mason being the new champion in the division, you got, like I said, Raymond Mortal and Andy Cruz will figure it out. They got their fight set up, so they'll be an active IBF champion. And then you have guys sitting in the WBA sanctioning body like Lucas Body and Floyd Schofield Jr., who are looking to get in the conversation as well. So this is where it comes to the forefront again to say, well, listen, if you're not going to give these guys an opportunity, well, then, not you yourself, the WBA should take an opportunity to go ahead and take that belt and put it back in circulation, even if you're going to put him in recess, just to be, just to take his personal life into consideration and say, okay, maybe if you give him time to organize things in a certain way, he can jump back into the conversation and be part of that division getting to where it needs to be. Because until that happens, there really is no undisputed or anything like that happening. that's going to come to the table. Shout out to my guy Reyes Boxing in the building. Angelo, what's good with you, family? Bringing you to the conversation.
Yeah, I was shocked that when I came in, I didn't know you guys were going to be talking about Thanksgiving. No, I'm just messing around.
It's funny. It's funny.
I listened to you guys. I was gonna say, Clay. So Ray messaged me this morning, and he was like, "Hey, Clay's interviewing Mickey Bay," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So I jumped into it late, but I thought you did a good job too. You know, like I thought you did a good job in the space of you weren't interrupting anyone. You kind of waited your time to ask him a good question. I think Mickey Bay would actually be a fun interview to have. You should try to get him on here because I feel like he's in the space right now of the in between where he is sort of still a fighter, but not really, because he's got an opportunity to transition into being a trainer, right? And it reminds me a lot of when Freddie was telling me the story of how he became Virgil Hill's trainer. Because at the time, Freddie was only, I think, like 27 or 28, and they were just basically telling him, look, man, if you continue with your career, it's not going to be good for you. So he was just in the gym with Eddie Futch, and he was already kind of helping out anyways. And Eddie Futch gave him that chance. So I think it was cool. I thought it was cool that Mickey kept talking about like Floyd Mayweather Sr. I certainly remember what it was like in that gym during those times too. So no, that's great. That's great. Now, having said that, sure is nice to have a Devin Haney to be your first. You know, like not everybody gets that chance usually. You know what I mean? Like not everybody gets a Devin Haney, a pound for pound guy, to be your first guy to kind of get you into the fold of things. But it'll be fun to see not only how Mickey works with Devin, but what other fighters could he work with. Right? Yeah, because I want to see that. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, maybe you could be like that Floyd Mayweather Sr. protege, so to say, and bring that complicated playbook into everybody, because it is a really specific style. Like for you guys who really pay attention to how boxing works, and you know, I mean, again, Clay, I'm just speaking from what I observed. The difference between it was funny how the difference between Freddie's style and Roger Mayweather's style is they both got to the same place. It's the way they got to the end goals that was a little different, but the philosophy was almost similar. It's just the stylistically they believed in certain things. Use this before you use this kind of a thing. Seniors was more definitely. I don't want to say it was reverse than Roger Mayweather's, but it was more centric towards the counter than it was towards the attack. And Rogers was more like, no, fuck that mother, you know, like let's go get this dude kind of thing, right? So right. And I think you saw that even in Floyd's style, right? Remember how when Roger was training Floyd, and Floyd was a lot more, I'm gonna knock this dude out kind of a thing. There's even fights in the past. I don't know if you guys remember, like in the Brucelas fight. You remember this, Ray? When Floyd was fighting Brucelas, yeah. And then Roger was like, "Quit fucking around with this guy. I told you, if you just work him in the body, you're gonna knock this dude out, right?" And then he knocks him out, right? And then if you watch him with Senior, it's a little bit different about the tactics, right? And it's closer to like how Mickey was even talking to, or not. I mean, you know, like Mickey's style with Devin Haney, because you know what I mean. Like I feel I agree with you guys too. Yeah, that Devin could have knocked out Brian Norman. Yeah. Like he could have stepped it up, right? And I think if it was more of like a Roger Mayweather.
Yeah. I said that to Mickey Bay. I was talking to him and I asked him how he felt about that. You know what I mean? And I referred to Dev as Debo Dev, right? I said, you know, we saw a glimpse of the Debo Dev, and I think a lot of people got excited and was like, wow, this version of him was, you know, it was an exciting version of him to see. But then we saw the second half of the fight. He did choose the coast. He didn't need to, so he didn't. So I asked him, is that what it's going to take? Is it going to take the right dance partner for him to do that? Or do you guys, you know, and he was just like, yeah, no, you could see in Mickey Bay's face. He's like, nah, Dev is going to get better. It's going to be way more intense. He's going to become more confident, and you're going to start seeing this evolution of Devin Haney in an actual way, because it does seem like that part isn't there for Devin, right? Like that killer instinct is not there. It seems like winning is definitely a priority. He wants to win, and he's going to make sure he wins. But that part right there that's missing, that would probably do a lot for his image in a way, right? For his brain, right? Where people kind of like, put this jacket on him of being this fighter that's not exciting to watch. But when he knocked Brian Norman down that second round, that was an exciting thing, man.
Dude, you jumped out the chair, bro. I was watching you live. I was live right here. You was like, oh, yeah. you thought you hit the lotto, Clay. I was like, dang.
Man.
Backflips. Yo, I didn't even know you can backflip, bro. You was doing all types of great things.
I mean, it was great. It was great to see him in that bag, because we saw it in the Regis Pro Grade again, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna be honest with you. Also, he coasted, but also I think he was dealing with the fact that he was dealing with a fighter who was smothering a lot of his work, jumping into, he had to be careful. He had to be careful because Norman was looking for an opportunity to land a big shot. That's what he brought to the table. So, and the way Norman was jumping and smothering his own work, but also, it's like I felt like Devin could have stepped it up, but I wasn't mad at him coasting to his victory, being that this fight was just as important, or the most important fight that he had going on, right? As well as the Jose Ramirez situation and what happened with Ryan Garcia. He didn't want nothing stupid to happen.
Right.
But Mickey's very confident about moving forward. He really feels like, and he's also, from what he's saying, he feels like he's a permanent part of the team now, which I think is
I hope so.
And to be clear on everything, right? It wasn't just Regis Pro Grade. Remember, he hurt Ryan twice in that fight, and he didn't capitalize on both times. I think one time Ryan beat on his chest, and he kind of looked like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? It didn't – that was an oh, shit moment. Then the other time he hit him, he stood there and watched Ryan damn near fall backwards and just stood there. He could have closed it up, but I think he was worried about that hook because he already got hit with it. And I think moments like that separate your mentality from your heart. And I think it made some question, and I think it helped him with the Regis. I think these are all – I think you even asked me, these are all Linares flashbacks, bro. These are very, very key moments. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I don't want to go in there, and I don't want this to happen to me. I don't want people to put me on the reel again. And I think even and I try to bring this guy back up, but I think even and shout out to Tate for saying this, he doesn't want to be a highlight reel. He doesn't want to be on nobody's meme. And I think Devin understands like that whole meme thing. He's tired of being memed, and I think sometimes it gets costly because when you don't want something to happen, it ends up happening. A lot of things are like that. So with that being said, I heard Mickey Bay mention that no, you're going to see, like you said, Devin getting better. You're going to see him taking those chances. You're going to see him fighting, and I don't think there's no one there that really can stop him. You know what I mean? Because he's just levels above. And we showed you that we were going to handicap this guy. Brian Norman's still the same fighter. He's still a monster in that ring. And I said that. I think he still beats everybody else at 147. I clearly think that. I believe that strongly. If not, maybe one or two guys maybe giving him trouble. Really, maybe like those boxer types. But other than that,
yeah, that's where it's at with him. It's the boxers. I
think that's the only people that give him trouble. But other than that, I think he still dominates, and I think he can work on those things to get better. But I just think the speed, the patience, the power that he was really reluctant to pay attention to and be a believer of, all that played a part. And you heard the first thing he said, right? Yeah, man, he broke his nose. He broke his nose. Yo, I'm telling you, the doctor came over and said his nose was broke. I'm like, damn, bro. And I knew he broke his nose. That shit was like right here.
Yeah, no, it was broken for sure.
It was crazy. Yeah. And he kept rubbing it, right? So I'm like, damn, man, if he I said, yo, he just kept peppering that nose. And I think that was frustrating to Brian because Brian kind of kept his distance because he didn't want to get hit in the face. And that's where you seen him slowing down. I think that's why you've seen a lot of the tie-ups on Brian's end, which everybody keeps saying Devin was the initiator, on Brian's end later in the fight. And that's why you've seen lackluster performances because the tie-up went the other way, right? And a lot of people were so hasty to just put that on Dev. But whatever. Debo Dev is here to stay, bro. I think he's dominant in this division. I think. Oh, and another thing, I really want to point this out, and I want to circumvent this, please, guys. Use it if you have to. what the space saying that Devin wasn't a real undisputed champion. He did it the easy way. He had one belt and beat a guy with 3. I mean, that's circumstance. We can't control that, right? Because Teal beat a guy with 2 to get
I mean,
one belt.
Terrence Crawford did the
Right,
same thing.
Right?
So
We can't.
I don't know about all this.
Listen,
But
we
all
can't
right.
listen to the non really boxing fans. We listen to the fans of the boxer, not the boxing fans. So Devin's, I think, heard that. I think Devin's like, listen, I'm gonna go take it one by one, and then what are you gonna say now? Now they're complaining, oh, you're picking this guy and you're picking that guy. Why can't you fight this guy? Like, it's just so weird how the tables turn when it's something that they say and then it moves a different way. So it ain't his fault who has the belts, to be honest with you. He can't control who has the belts. If you guys feel that way, he's going to get them. That's it. That's how he feels. So I guess buckle up, Buttercup, and sit tight.
No, I mean, to your point, Ray, I will say that for on the show, we always talk about and we emphasize that there's no one real fighter that we're always trying to push. What we're trying to do is just talk about the greater good of boxing, because that's what we want. We want it to come a time where everyone is talking about boxing the same way they talk about the NFL, the same way it used to be, right, back in the 80s. And for the sake of boxing, I hope Brian Norman gets better. Having said that, bro, 147 is not a light touch. This is not the division where Brian Norman could be like, oh, I'll take a couple of tune-up type fights to make my technique better. Look, man, you can't be fighting no Rohan Polanco like that. You can't fight Tiger Johnson like that. You can't, you can't. I mean, Lewis Crocker. Yeah, Lewis Crocker. Yeah, Jack Catterall. Like, I'm based on what we just saw happen to Brian Norman, and I'm sorry to say, and I'm sure Clay, you'll get Brian Norman Sr. back on the show at some point, maybe Junior on. But based on what we saw right now, I'm sorry, man. Brian Norman went from the boogeyman of 147 to I think Shakran Giasov would beat him. I think Jack Catterall would beat him. I think Lewis Crocker would beat him. And I'm just saying that based on, again, we're doing the eye test on what we saw, because it wasn't just the techniques were exposed, the spirit and soul of it all was exposed too.
Yes,
there was that Haney took a soul, and that's hard to come back from, Ray. And I'm speaking from from that side now, where I'm like, nah, bro, it ain't as easy as everybody thinks. These guys aren't machines, Clay. Right? There's a psychological part to Brian Norman Jr.'s got to get over it. And then he's got to make sure that the first bounce back fight is the type of fight that can make him a 147 type star again. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think that, and shout out to Sean. You changed it so much, bro. I'm trying to change this background right now on this thing, and it's just somewhere else now, right? Like, all
you read it? I can read it. I see it in the chat.
I found it. They separate. I found it. Okay, no, I can read it. I just wanted to show up the right way on the screen. Shout out to Phil, man. He said, here's my question though. Both Barrios and Romero have been considered trash for the longest. To me, they're just belt holders, he says, right? And then he finishes it up and he says that so if he's beating them, are we giving all this so if he's beating them, are we giving all this credit for it?
Can I answer that first?
No, I'm about to.
Go ahead.
But at the end of the day, who's in front of you is who's in front of you, right? If Devin Haney's going to fight to unify titles and become undisputed, he can't wait for the right guys to win the championships and then fight them, right? He's going to fight whoever's there in front of him. It's not his issue who's holding the belt. If the sanctioning bodies, if we're dealing with champions who aren't champions, then that's not of Devin Haney or Bill Haney or the Haney team's business, right? Their job is to fight the champions and to unify, if that's what they're trying to do. I think people conveniently try to play that game, right? But this is why the Dana Whites and the Turkey Al-Sheiks exist, right? This is why they end up in the games, because people don't respect the belts, right? People want to value them when they want to, and then when they don't want the value there, they want him to just leave that there and go find the hardest fight he can fight. If he has to leave the division, go to 154, they want him in the ring with somebody who could take his head off, which I can like respect to a degree, right? Because you want to see the fights happen. But but at the same time, I think I would appreciate it more and respect it more if there was a consistency across the boxing space requiring all fighters to meet those same standards, right? But that's not what ends up happening. What ends up happening is a fighter like Devin Haney goes to 147, fights a fighter who they thought was the most dangerous fighter in the division, thought that that didn't even make any sense for him to go against that fighter. A lot of people picked Brian Norman to win that fight, including me. And he exceeds expectations for a lot of people. I'm not going to say he did that for me necessarily, because I really feel like Brian Norman Jr. came below expectations for me. That was the biggest factor in that fight. But regardless, for the people who really just didn't see no way for him to win that fight, he exceeds it. And instead of him being allowed to move forward and go to another champion and being respected for it, where it's like, okay, he's being true to himself. No, what you guys want to do is remove him from out that, and you want to see him lose. So you put him in a division next to a Jerron Boots Ennis. You want to see him make that fight happen. Everybody has their own thing. So I try my best not to point fingers and be like, your guys are being this way and that way. But I can tell you, me as a real boxing fan, I have no problem with him fighting Rolly Romero next.
Yeah.
I have no issues with it. Matter of fact, the chaos that Rolly brings, that unorthodox approach to I'm interested in seeing that style clash with Devin. I'm interested in seeing Devin in the ring with somebody like that. The same way the Marcos Maidana fight was with Floyd Mayweather. It was just like this unorthodox, rough, come forward fighter, explosive fighter against this fundamentally sound traditional boxer in Floyd Mayweather. The fight was so crazy he had to rematch him, right? Because Floyd had to go back to the drawing board and be like, hold on, we're gonna approach this fight a whole different way, because that looked way too competitive. So I got no problem with it, but I do hear this space though. I hear people who are trying to debunk the Devin Haney thing going on, the Debo era or the Devin Haney era, and they're trying to stick him in the ring with the most dangerous fighter. So they don't even want to see him unified. They just want to see him get in the ring with somebody who they think is super dangerous. Right. But I wish they would keep the consistency across the board for all the fighters.
Yeah, and let me just add this real quick, Ray, and then I know you'll have a long thing to say about it, but it's a circumstance thing, right? It wasn't that long ago for everybody on the space that Boots Ennis was the WBA champion. Boots Ennis left the division, right? So I guess if anyone has a problem with the fact that it was supposed to be Ryan Garcia that has that belt, Rolly beat him fair and square. And I think people aren't looking at it with a microscope, where they're not seeing that Rolly Romero is working with Salas now. And Salas is the guy who trained Linares and all these different Japanese fighters. And I mean, he's a very good tactician, right? Salas, I think at one point was with Rigondeaux. So I'm just saying, like, Rolly, unless Rolly's not trying, I'm pretty sure he's trying. Yeah. He's only going to get better. So I agree with you guys that why not have Haney versus Rolly? The one thing I will say, though, is if the WBA is going to maneuver weirdly again, Giasov has been waiting for 2 years. And Eddie Hearn is pushing the whole, hey, WBA, you couldn't possibly move him again. So you're either going to see Rolly Romero get elevated to super champion, and then Giasov will get to fight someone for the quote-unquote regular champion, or this, because I keep still hearing, guys, about Rolly Romero versus Manny Pacquiao next. Are you guys hearing this too? I keep hearing about
I heard it's
still a possibility.
Trying to move that out the way.
They're trying to make the Manny Pacquiao fight so happen. Shout out to Murab Salam in the building. Said none of those fights have belts. All Ryan has to do is beat Barrios. Yeah, that's why that guy's not getting responded to right now, right? Because he doesn't. It's not. I can't make you understand. Right? I just given up on you. I've given up. I really have. I've genuinely given up. At the end of the day, if Devin's looking to unify and become an undisputed champion and once again, this particular boxing space, this community, right? And shout out to this community, but I mean the boxing space, and I'm gonna be frank with it, I'm not gonna cover it up. The black boxing fan, the black boxing space, you guys have lost all credibility with the fighters. They don't care about y'all no more. They don't listen to y'all, right? So when you got somebody like Devin Haney, even your favorite fighter ain't listening to you. So Devin Haney and Jerron Boots Ennis and Shakur Stevens, these guys are making the fights that make sense according to what they're trying to accomplish. I'm not going to ignore what Devin Haney, the legacy fighter, fighting Conor Ben is an interesting fight for fans to see, but Conor has nothing to offer Devin except for risk, right? Except for
And
a
money.
fight for you.
And massive money.
Money's not even an issue because you can get money making other fights. Conor Ben should go and fight for a title as soon as he can. He needs to make that his priority. Plus, I'll be honest with you, Conor Ben doesn't seem interested in fighting Devin either. But that being said, he doesn't have a belt. Ryan Garcia, all he has to do is go and make a fight. Well, excuse me, he's already making the fight happen. All he has to do is go and handle his business and beat Mario Barrios and become a champion.
Yep.
Then the fight becomes interesting. I was one of the guys who campaigned very early and said I don't even think Devin needed to rematch Ryan because I thought Ryan was a cheat and why reward him, in my opinion, right? People, I mean, that's just how I felt about it. But that being said, it is what it is. I'm cool with the rematch happening, but it's okay for Devin to say, you know what? Go fight for that belt. By the way, the fight's already done. So waiting on Ryan Garcia to make him. Nobody's doing that no more. That's what you're watching David Benavidez. You're watching Jerome Buchanan. There's no more waiting going on. So we'll fight. We're in the same division. There's no way in hell you're going to be a champion and I'm a champion and we're not going to fight each other. But what's next? Well, what's next for him is Rolly Romero. That's what he sees in front of him. Now, if Rolly goes and makes his fight happen with Manny Pacquiao, then he's probably going to go to Lewis Crocker, right? He's probably going to try to go that right for an IBF, or maybe he'll fight a mandatory. Who knows what he might fight? I think at this point, though, Devin Haney's not ducking any smoke, but there is the fighter's game plan that we can't ignore. You know what I'm saying? We don't got to compare fighters and say we did one thing for one fighter and did something for another because fighters have different circumstances. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but depending on their situation, where they're at, makes a big difference on the decisions that they make. When it comes to the Tank Davis topics, for the people that want to make this all a reference to him, and they want us to, I don't know what it is that they want. I think they just want him to be revered, no matter what. But I think at the end of the day, there's an A-side leverage that this man has had for a large part of his career at this point. There are options that he could have taken. Nobody was going to turn down any smoke. It wasn't like he was trying to make big fights and the fighters weren't trying to fight him. He purposely did not make these fights happen. And that's something he has to live with. And that's something that that his fans have to get comfortable with. You know what I mean? In separating from somebody who's been trying to make the big fights, but fighters don't want to get in the ring with him. From my perspective, that's where I see it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know about you.
I agree, Clay. And I just wanted to, I'm glad you mentioned that guy's name. I wasn't going to mention the name. I was going to say the contemporary of Devin Haney from 135. They gave all these guys credit for being champions and gave him
100%.
Gave him credit for him beating future champions, right? Two-time champion in Barrios, two-time champion in Rolly Romero. They gave Rolly credit for that, and off the tail end of losing, they gave Barrios credit. And I'm like, okay, so now this guy they have belts, and he should go fight the guys that had the belts. Now all of a sudden, those guys aren't worthy of getting beat up on, or I ain't gonna say beat, because I don't know what happens in those fights, but boxing or potentially losing, because that's how y'all see the fights going. Y'all don't want to see them lose to Devin, and if he does, then you're gonna say, oh, that's somebody's leftovers. Like first of all, they're all fighters, bro. It's a big circle of friends. I hate to tell you, you know what I mean? They all get in the ring and they fight each other at one point or another. So, you know what I mean, if that happens, it happens. But you guys really look at things really in a weird way. To say that he needs to go fight Conor Ben, or he needs to go. Listen, he wants all the smoke. Wanting all the smoke means when there's no one else available, I'll take the best guy in the division. I'll show you who he is. So if Conor Ben happens to be that guy, then let him have at it. You know what I mean? No doubt. But at the end of the day, we have to really take things for what they are. There's a lot of people out there that are just so disrespectful and so hateful towards the opposite, or the opponent of the contemporary guy, that they just look for excuses for other people not.
My bad, Phil. I didn't mean to block you. I was blocking Bubs, man. But I unblocked you. I didn't mean to block you. The screen just moved when I tried to. When I tried to block him, it moved. The thing moved and you caught it. But you good now. But I had to block him, bro.
You caught it straight, man.
Come back tomorrow. Yeah, it was by accident. But I mean,
you hear exactly what it is. You know what I mean? F the belt's doing this. Then why is he holding the belt? Right? No disrespect. I'm gonna move on from that. But yeah, But you know what? Some people love the belts because the belts have legacy. They have legendary status in this boxing ring. You see Sugar Ray, who was an undisputed champion, not once but twice in one division. Then he moved up and he became a champion in other divisions. Right? He didn't have to get multiple titles. I think he did become middleweight undisputed because Hagler had all the belts at one point. I think he had a belt and he merged with Hagler, something like that. But whatever. I got to go do my research on that. But regardless, you got to give credit to these fighters that want to become champions and submit themselves in the history books. Fighting somebody of a high risk, low reward is not the value unless it's a big fight and the money's going to be there. So, you know what I mean? Like a Conor Ben, as Angelo alluded to. But if I have an opportunity to fight another champion, that champion has an opportunity to fight me, then make it happen. And that's it. Shout out to Blaze. Exactly. But, you know, we have to understand where this is in the sport. And we got to stop. We got to get the detractors outside of the sport and all this tough. I was just telling somebody today, Clay, I don't want to go there, but you got to get these mental cases out the game that just only want to believe in the boxer. The sport is boxing, right? Knockouts don't always have to happen. You win at any cost. All this stuff is what it is, man. Let's keep it a buck. And if Devin wants to move a certain way, let him move the way he wants to. And if he sees championships and wants to be undisputed, because you guys said he couldn't go win the belts one by one and take them like Earl Spence did, that's what he's trying to do. So you got to pick your battles. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. I agree, man. I think that this is where the options are there, you know what I mean? And I don't want to bring in the Zuffa thing to make it like the end all be all, but this is where these ideas start to get entertained at, you know what I mean? Just right. the in and out with the belts, you know, belts don't matter. They do matter, clearly, you know what I'm saying? And in the most important thing, and not the most important, but the diabolical thing is the fighters who do respect the belts and want the belts, and they start getting they start catching hell for chasing down the belts, right? It's like, forget the belts, go make another fight. When it comes to the Tank Davis topic, the only thing with Tank is that you're holding a belt. So yeah, man, we're going to campaign for the WB to strip you of that shit, or to put you in recess and allow that belt to circulate in the space with the fighters who are trying to become champions and who do respect the belts. That's just how that just comes along with it, right? You can't tell me that the belts don't matter. Then when I talk about taking the belt from your fighter, you go, that's effed up. Right. What do you care?
Right.
You don't care about so what's the big deal? Let go of the belts and be a superstar. Make signature fights, make big money fights, whatever it is that you call yourself doing. Do that. You have a fan base who clearly is there to support you, right? Doing that. You know what I'm saying? So they'll be there and they'll keep you selling. They'll keep you where you need to be. But allow the belts and allow the championship in the traditional sense of boxing to continue to move forward. Don't sit there and hold a belt hostage and you have no plans on defending it. You have no plans on giving any opportunity to somebody who's worked their whole, you know, look at Floyd Schofield and Lucas Body. How long have they been waiting for a chance to become a champion? They just can't become one now because you're holding the belt. You're just not going to give them a shot and you're not going to let go of the belt. And we just got to drink that Kool-Aid and just deal with it. No, hell no, right? It's let it go or defend it.
Right.
Well, just even a direct example that we just recently saw twice happen within the last 12 months is Usyk. Usyk, after beating Fury, was like, I'm the greatest, I'm the best, right? And then when he needed to let the IBF go, he let it go. Daniel Dubois was able to get the IBF. Then they were able to fight, right? Then right now, same thing, just a month ago. All right, I'm going to relinquish the WBO now. Well, Fabio Wardley just knocked out or beat Joseph Parker. So then he has the WBO champion. You see what I mean, right? Like, I think that's would be the smart common practice.
Right.
Yeah.
I promise you, if Tank would just let the belts go, vacate it, or if he didn't have a belt, for me personally, right, I wouldn't care what he does. I'm be honest with you, because I'm telling you, a long time ago, I accepted the fact that he's not going to make these fights happen. I'm okay with it. Oh, I'm talking about people been fighting over this. Watch my videos. I've been sitting there like, oh man, I want to see him. Everybody knows what I want to see. The moment that man said, what did that man do to earn a fight with me? I was cool with that. I've been okay with Tank just being mentally not dialed into boxing, dealing with personal issues, and him figuring his way out. He didn't have to fight any fights, but that title, just let it go, bro, because there's unifications that can happen. If Floyd Schofield were to pick up a WBA title right now, that would make
That'd be nice.
That would make that fight with him and Shakur way more interesting, and we probably see that fight. That stylistically would be a great fight to watch Shakur in. If he's holding a title, maybe he chases down an Abdullah Mason right now. They have a little storyline going on to where that unification makes sense. Andy Cruz getting into a fight with Shakur Stevenson, defending his IBF title, if he was able to beat Raymond Mortalo, would make it interesting. You're watching Shakur go up to 140 now to go challenge himself with Teofimo, or challenge and scream out for a Conor Bennett at 147. He's looking to get into some big fights because he wants to get money, right? He wants to get into some big fights, and he wants to do it and get a little legacy with it as well, but he wants to get into the big fights and get some money. Tank is not involved in that conversation. Just let go of the belt. I think the WBA is clear as day. He was going to go fight Jake Paul in a, whatever. I don't even want to call it a catchweight fight, because I think it's a little bit more extreme than a catchweight fight, right? Like, it was just a ridiculous, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing wrong with at least at a minimum, put him in recess. At a minimum, right? If you don't want to, just put him in recess. So when he decides, if he decides to come back into the conversation, he can come in right where he left it at, fight a champion, and get right back into the conversation whenever he feels like it. I don't think there's any issues.
Agreed. 1,000%. I agree with that.
No.
The other thing I was going to say is, and it is about to happen in January, but if you guys did watch the NFL yesterday, you saw a few promotions for UFC.
Oh yeah.
Paramount Plus. And just so that you guys understand that the NFL is such a big medium for being able to showcase anything, that for there to be a feature with Dana White talking about the first UFC card that's going to be showing out for free, it gives you a clarity into understanding that over the next 5 years, Zuffa boxing might become like an NFL to how boxing is right now. Boxing, to me, and I love it, guys. I pay attention to the whole thing globally, but for the American space, boxing feels like college football. There's all these different bowl games, there's all these different championships, and you hope that the one bowl game champion fights the other bowl game champion, and that happens. Versus in the NFL, there's just the Super Bowl champ, right? And I believe that's what Zuffa boxing is going to bring to the table. But to give you an idea of it, the first fight that they're showing, not only is it stacked with a ton of names that people are going to know over the last 10 years, but Ilya Tapura, who was supposed to fight, is the 155 champion. He said he had personal issues. So Dana White, being the president, instead of going, blah, 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 he was like, hey, we're going to do an interim championship between Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett, and that's what's going to happen on Paramount Plus on UFC. You see how quick that decision is? So I say that to say the WBA with Gilberto Mendoza, I think is the president's name. All he would have to do when Tank said, I'm going to fight Jake Paul, is go, well, hey, since he's going to go fight Jake Paul, we're now going to do an interim, championship. Like, boom, done, finished. And no more conversation.
And I'm glad you said that, because I remember when Earl was champion at the time, I think he was fighting Ugas.
Right.
The PBC was very big in promoting fights in the NFL. You know what I mean? They promoted the Gervonta Davis. They promoted, I think, David Benavidez. They promoted Earl Spence. And
Earl Spence for sure.
Right. Yeah. And I remember them being at the stadiums where they were honored, and they were talking about them. They brought them, on the side. They have showing them in the president's box or whatever, next to the owner's box. And it just shows you the growth that was there. Like, people were fanned in. They were like, yo, look, they're talking about the fight coming up, blah, blah, blah. And now that went away. You know what I mean? With PBC losing their thing with Paramount or CBS and then Showtime, it changed. You know what I mean? It went away. And now, like you said, Zuffa boxing, I've been seeing the interviews and the things of that nature and them talking about it. You see the WWE talking about it. It just shows you that this is how it should be promoted. You should be promoting the sport any which way you can, and get these guys some commercials. You know what I mean? Go out there and get Shakur. He had the Reebok contract. I don't know if he still has it, but he should have been doing Reebok sneakers, bro. Like, he should have been doing ads for them. Just like other athletes do ads, right? Devin Haney with whoever company was he, Under Armour, varsity, he has Under Armour things. So he should be doing ads with them. Like, and I hate to say Devin, that's the only guy I know that had another contract. OnlyFans with boots. If you want to do that, I don't want to see.
I mean,
boots.
even Anthony Joshua, right?
OnlyFans, I promise you that. But regardless, you know what I mean, that's a sponsor of his, but it just promotes, man, and the promotion helps in itself. Clay's laughing at me, but it's just these things help, man. And Clay mentioned this all the time. He remembers when Marvin Hagler had the right guard commercial.
Indubitably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else is uncivilized.
Everything else is uncivilized.
I think that, you know, I keep talking about this era of boxing, and let's bring into it. And, you know, the new talents, the Xander Zayas, hopefully Carmel Moulton can get up in there. The Zaquin Moses is, the Moses Atalmas, the Bruce Shushu Carringtons, right? These new, and yes, the Devin Haneys and the Shakur Stevensons and the people who were the B side, quote unquote, on these other, in the other era of boxing that wasn't checking the boxes. I think this era, you have a way more articulate, way more media trained, way more exposed to this media space in a way that's outside of the drill rapping scene rappers, right? Rapper, boxer, guys that are in the scene. And I think you're going to see a lot of things open up. Doors are going to open up in those areas as far as sponsorship and things of that are concerned. Yes, in what Zuffa is doing, what Turkey's doing, I think is going to play a major role in that. Did you guys hear the rumor about Turkey Al-Sheikh, about Saudi Arabia either losing money or pulling money away?
Apparently it was thrown out, and then a few of the smaller sites threw it out, and they were citing a source that New York Times was talking about it. But Turkey Al-Sheikh already like instantly went out and did a statement through Ring Magazine saying all that's bullshit, and in fact you're going to see an even bigger 2026. So you know.
100%. Turkey addressed it. You know what I'm saying? He definitely addressed it. But once again, this thing is doing this, but it is crazy, bro. That is crazy that this thing.
You'll get it, Clay. You just learning the system, bro.
It's not just learning. It's inconsistencies in what's going on. It's the platform has issues without a doubt. The platform is moving around doing stuff, and it's very consistently inconsistent. In many ways, StreamYard dominates these guys for a reason, man.
Yeah,
and these guys are very amateurish, and a lot of the things that I've been playing with it for about a month now, and it's
StreamYard got a Black Friday right now, Clay. If you want to come back,
they already offered me. They already reached out to me and offered me a crazy
deal. A lot of upgrades too.
Yeah, no, this restream is not. It can't hang. But anyway, Turkey, they definitely can't. Turkey definitely responded to it. But what do you guys find that where's that coming from? You said it was from a New York Times.
So somebody said, okay, so the first time I saw it, I was like, this is total BS, but sure. Let's see if he at least cites a source, right? And source he said is he read through New York Times somewhere. But I mean, I don't know, man. This could be a more of a maybe something was said on a political sense because you know Saudi was just here and was at the White House, and I don't know, man. All I know is that country got so much damn money, you know. You know what I mean? Whatever.
No, they're literally printing money. I mean, damn near, because they just make it. Yeah, it's not. As far as them not having it is something I'm just never going to go for, right? I just know that's not true. Right. As far as their interest, if anything, that is their interest going away from it or not, it doesn't seem like it is. But listen, man, that's part of the game. Right. But going into 2026, all I hear is announcements about crazy things coming, right? Him speaking with Eddie Hearn, talking about crazy announcements coming up. So I thought that was kind of weird. I know a lot of people celebrated that. But I think a lot of people would like for him to just move out the way so that boxing can go back to the, you know, when boxing was great again, I guess, type of situation, which, you know, I would ask what was so great about it. But I thought that was interesting that they decided to start circulating some nonsense about some nonsense about money being low or
I mean,
money being out in other areas.
I'll put it to you this way, right? If currently right now, and we know that boxing is a free space of individualistic capitalism, right? You go where you make the most money because first of all, you go where money is offered to you, and then secondly, when you're the type of fighter that money is offered to you, you go where you can make the most money. All of us aren't blind to this, right? Because there isn't a salary cap of some sort like they have in the NFL or in the NBA. But having said that, if the salary cap was Saudi money, then it's not like people are going to stop fighting at Saudi, even if the money was lower. And I can't see a scenario in where Turkey Al Sheikh or PIF or Salah offers two fighters, hey, here's the money we can offer you, and here's what you're going to get to fight each other on this date. For those fighters to say no, if that's still more money than what they would normally get, whether it's EBC or a top rank. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So unless they completely turn off the tap and they're like, no more, like no more boxing. I don't see that. I don't know. Business-wise, that doesn't make sense. Why would Riyadh season spend all this time, all this money, and all this effort since 2023 just to all of a sudden in 2026 go, we're no longer going to fund boxing? You know what I mean? Come on, man. Common sense, guys.
I got to get out of here, Clay. I told you I had an appointment at 5. But I just want to tap in on something before we leave. I know you're going to touch on this later. But I just want to say, since we're on the subject of how the sport is and how the fan base is and what they expect from the boxers, I don't know if anybody watched the weigh-ins and the press conferences over in England, right?
Oh, yeah.
Very, very good sportsmanship, right? Yes, they're contenders. They're competing against each other. But you don't see all the aggravation, the like Clay mentioned, the drill rap talks, the ill, you know what I mean, like beast for no reason when you're getting in the ring with these guys. You see these guys ready to fight. You know what I mean? They're ready to engage. They want their revenge. There's a couple of rematches on that card.
Yeah.
And these
really
guys are like, yo, much respect to you, but I'm going to beat you up. Now the guy's like, okay, I'm going to beat you up. All right, no problem. Shake hands. Let's walk away. And that's how it should be, man, in this game, bro. I just don't understand why we're in a state of mind of I got to show you that I run the block type mentality. It's just crazy.
Right.
I think organic beef is good for boxing, but I think made up beef is weird to watch.
Yeah.
Like when it's not really there, and you're like, what are y'all beefing about? Like, y'all, when did y'all gonna have this energy about each other? I think a good organic, like Conor Ben, Chris Eubank, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or if Javante and Devin would have set up a fight, or Shakur would have set up a fight, or there's certain fighters that energy is there. So it's Ryan and Devin, you know what I'm saying? Just genuine, just animosity. Time when you see people finding it necessary to just make something out of nothing to create.
Right. It's just weird.
Create out the air, yeah.
And another thing is, when we're talking about the sponsorships, who's your sponsors? New artists that are in hip hop that do drill rap, walking them out to the ring. Like, come on, bro. Like, I'm sorry, Clay. It's just certain things I'm starting to realize this game has, and I'm just like, yo, I can see why boxing's bigger in Japan and bigger in UK and bigger in England and bigger in Ukraine and Lithuania, and why these guys are celebrated so much.
Do you think that as much as, because for me, it's the way it affects the boxing fans, right? I find that it puts the boxing fans at each other in an unhealthy way. Whereas in football, for example, a Giant fan and an Eagle fan will go at it, but it doesn't seem so unhealthy, right?
Right.
I don't know if it's because of the structure that it's missing, but
the city, right? They represent the city.
Yeah, I mean, because what ends up happening is you got a lot of fans, like, I had to block Bubs, you know what I'm saying, because he was being disruptive, but just not allowing other fighters to be built up, right? Destroying everything around them, and it's kind of like feral pig, right? Like they just destroy everything, all the shrubbery, all they take away the fertilization of the soil. Like nothing else can grow out of it if it ain't their one fighter. And I feel like American boxing is just an example of how of a boxing space that fell short because of that, right? No, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Clay, on that, because if you think about this too, how many times have we heard people, even some, will jump on the panel sometimes, right? but they'll criticize, let's say, UK boxing or outside of America boxing. But if we were to ask them, well, how much of that do you actually watch? Like, do you watch it to the point where you know who Cameron Vong is? A Vietnamese-based UK fighter who's at the 135 division. That's one of the up-and-comers, right? Like, or do you understand what next-gen boxing is, which is what they do in the UK to build up certain fighters? I'm not going to criticize an NFL team if I haven't really watched them. You know what I mean, Clay? Because then that's just trolling. And I think that for the most part, unfortunately, in our boxing space, the American fan base of boxing aren't educated. They sound like trolls sometimes. Like,
I don't think. Yes, I agree with you, but at the same time, I don't think that's what it is. I think the culture is toxic in general. I think I ain't gonna lie, man. It's hip hop, bro. It's hip hop, bro. I'm gonna be real with you. It's a culture that has bled into this space, and I think it's worked in a bad way. You know what I mean? I just think, when you have people who just can't, when you can't speak on a fighter when it comes to boxing without it turning into you're hating or all those different things, it just gets toxic for the space. And that is a difference you see in the UK scene versus the American boxing scene. The UK scene, it can be very competitive between fans who are representing their fighters, but at the same time, boxing is a overall thing that they're trying to celebrate, and it makes it big. I think over here, the lack of structure and the lack of any type of respect for like the ranking structure and things of that nature makes it like where fighters can have personal issues with each other and freeze other fighters out. The structure's not there to where it's like, no matter what y'all going through, you guys got to fight. You know what I'm saying? You guys got to fight. Here, they don't have to do that. They can move around and just be like, I'm not going to fight him because I don't like him. I don't like the way he talked to me. I don't like the way he acted. Like all these different things. I heard David Benavidez speaking on that with Canelo the other day. Just speaking on how crazy it was. Like he don't got time for, over respecting somebody to the point to where if I don't say something nice about you, I can't get an opportunity that I earned. I beat so many people in front of me. How in the hell can I play that game in a sport where we're fighting each other? And as far as the UK boxing is concerned, as far as the American boxing space, listen, man, it's on a different time schedule. It's a different situation. There's a lot of American boxing fans who just not available or, in comparison to what they could be doing. Like on a Saturday, if there's a fight going on at, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you got people who want to watch college football.
Yeah.
Who want to watch it. They're just not, it's just not on the same schedule as them. So they're not watching it. Until they fight an American boxer, right? Until
that's until Zuffa Boxing, essentially, which will be accessible and free to everyone. I mean, I'm sorry to say it, man. You guys are I just remembered that we were trying to tell you this before it happens, but by the time we get to June of 2026,
Murad Salam is like you know what? And respectfully, right? Murad Salam, thank you, man. And I don't mean say respectfully. Like I was going to say, usually when you say something like that, means you're about to say something disrespectful. Nah, I mean it. Like people have called me out on that, saying I'm trying to be politically correct. And that's probably is. I agree. I think I do. I think I try to be respectful as much as I can. But sometimes certain criticism is just criticism, and just because you put a respectfully on the front of it doesn't mean
respectfully.
Yeah, right. You just try your best. You try your best to, and shout out to 2 Cents said YouTube is not journalism. 100% it's not. But unfortunately in America, YouTube, and that's probably the problem, right? Like when you see the inside the boxing with Max Kellerman, all those guys, that's probably what they need more of, because on here it's more of a fan base. It's a fanatic space, right? So it's not about the sport in general, but unfortunately it seems like we are the media for American boxing, right? Whereas in UK you got Talk Sports.
Well, the UK has Sky Sports, which is their regular ESPN, right? Sky Sports talks about boxing every day. So it would be great, guys, if there were actual boxing journalists like there used to be a long time ago, and it would be just shown on ABC Sports and CBS Sports and all of that. But for now, what tends to happen is even the people that are supposed to be on that platform how many of you guys who are listening to this show right now believe that they even know what they're talking about? You see what I'm saying, right? Like, it's not even fair because you're not putting people who, like you watch it so much, Clay, that you would probably smoke. Not probably, you definitely would smoke Stephen A. Smith in terms of current boxing information if you guys were having a debate. Not because Stephen A. Smith isn't smart, but he doesn't care. So he's not watching it all the time and understanding what's going on in the space, especially with how it moves. And that's what I mean is if that's what you guys want, if you want to listen to a CBS guy tell you some broad shit that doesn't actually have real information behind it, versus you can go to Claymore's channel and actually get some real info, whether you like it or not, at least it's going to be real. It's not going to be it's not going to be some fake narrative because Clay loves Tank Davis and he's going to try to push it to make you like Tank. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to be, here's the info. Like it, don't like it. This is the information.
Yeah. I mean, I miss Friday night fights. Yeah, tonight there's some fights going on tonight with pro boxing, and tomorrow I've obviously got the Ben. Is it tonight?
That's tomorrow. So all of the so guys, there's a ton of fights tomorrow happening. I'll reread you guys the schedule, but it's all, for whatever reason, it all is coming on a Saturday. So Frazier Clark versus TKV is on the British Box Channel. Clay, pause. Ben Whitaker and Gavazi, and then the Cameron Vong versus Gwen rematch. All that, Molly McCann. That's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern on DAZN. And then on Pro Box at 7 p.m. Eastern is Paldo versus Theron. And, all those guys fighting in Fresno. And then DAZN has another fight card that's happening in Mexico. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. And then DAZN also in the Netherlands is having boxing happening at 2 p.m. Eastern, but everybody will probably be watching the Ben Whitaker fight anyways. And then Elijah Pierce and Lorenzo Parra is fighting on that Manny Pacquiao promoted card in Temecula, California. So I don't know if that's supposed to be at 10 p.m. Eastern time. And I don't know if you guys will be able to watch that on Tubi or ESPN Plus or something. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's a Manny Pacquiao Promotions / Top Rank, I guess. But I know that Elijah Pierce and Lorenzo Parra is the main event of that one. So lots of boxing, man. But there's even boxing on Sunday on DAZN. It's happening in the UK between Urso and Amos. So yeah, man. I mean, like, again, there's tons of boxing globally happening.
Yeah. Salute HLD. What's good, family?
What's good, guys? Happy Friday. Happy Black Friday. I think that's Black Friday for you every Friday, right? Claymore.
Pretty much every Friday, bro. Every Friday. I got no choice. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. Man, bro. Did you see, were you on The Voice today? Did you see the Boxing Voice today with Mickey Bay?
I caught a little bit of it. I'm not a big TV what is it?
Right.
But I saw you on there momentarily, and I caught some of it. I mean, I've heard Mickey Bay pretty much say the same thing on Mills.
Yeah, exactly. So. That's what I was gonna say on Mill. But do you think? I mean, he's always been campaigning like that. But do you think he brings that element to Devin that's gonna make Devin like really more of an issue? Because I'm being honest with you, it's hard to bet against that man right now, bro. I mean, I know you're not a big Devin Haney fan, but where are you at on him right now as far as
you said it perfectly earlier. You said it perfectly earlier in your stream. And look, I mean, I believe, look, he did what he had to do for that Saturday night. That's it. He did what he had to do. The surprising factors, yes, I don't think no one really expected him to hurt and drop Norman, which was the true deciding factor for the that set the tone for the rest of the fight, and that he was able to protect himself from not getting hit clean and really test that chin. So those are the two. But I didn't see nothing else. I didn't see no different Devin Haney that night. I didn't see anything that tells me, oh my God, I'm scared of him, or it's a new Devin Haney. I didn't see that. So I think
don't you think that like he's just super difficult to beat at this point?
No.
So who do you see beating him?
At 147 right now, man, which is like it's a deserted 147 basically, because there's really no, he beat the guy that was supposed to be the up and coming. So everybody else, I mean, I don't know, can a long lengthy Barrios cause a problem for Devin Haney? I don't know, but I really don't see it right now at 147 that there's something that tells me that he cannot overcome right now. So I think with the current way this division is, I don't see no. I think we got to wait till like the 140 guys to get up there, and then we'll see. Maybe I think a Puello at 147 is a dangerous fighter today. He's got length. He can fight. He's dangerous at 147. Tiger Johnson. Granted, he did what he did in his last fight, but I don't like the shying away from competition. Polanco he needs an opponent. He doesn't have an opponent for January 31st. And
I thought there was one. HLD.
No, there isn't one. Hector Bermudez stated so on Wednesday night. They don't have an opponent. I'm just saying.
Let me get this straight, HLD. They're the co-main event, and they don't have an opponent yet.
They don't have an opponent.
Top rank, man. Y'all got to get your shit together for real.
Well, no, it's because they want somebody of equal value, not value, but of equal stature, like Floss was, because they saw that. Look, Devin Haney took a good name. They saw Tiger Johnson take a decent name, and he wants to follow in that suit. But he's saying that everybody's saying no, and so if everybody's saying no, he's gonna then have to take whatever's left. But I'm saying Tiger Johnson should take up that opportunity.
Yeah,
because that opportunity is fire. You beat Tiger Johnson, and then, bro, look, this fight is gonna be in front of 18,000 sellout
Puerto Rican,
in El Coliseo of Puerto Rico and in San Juan. This is gonna be fire. And so, I mean, I think it's a great opportunity for Tiger Johnson. I think he's still fresh from his last fight, so I think there's no reason why he can't get back into it. It's 2 months away. I would take it. I would tell Mick Waters and Top Rank, no, just put me in. But from those two winners, then we can say, yeah, maybe there's a real threat. But I think Polanco's still green and Tiger Johnson's still in the air. We don't know how good is he really. So he knocked out his last guy, and I didn't expect that, but good for him. But how good is he? It hasn't been consistent enough for me to say that he's the guy to beat Devin Haney, right? I think he could challenge him, but is he the guy? I don't think so. 147 right now, Devin Haney is leading the pack, and until we see what happens later on with the TOs, the Polanco, I mean the Polancos or the Tigers or Puello at 140, or maybe Gary Antoine Russell if he decides to want to go up that way, or maybe even a Hitchens. Right now, Devin Haney is in the driver's seat at 147.
I think at 147 there's some interesting, like, fun fights for him though. Whereas 135 didn't have as many interesting fights, and 140 had some. But if he's gonna have a problem with the weight cut, it was gonna be an issue. But like Raul Curiel and Rohan and even Jack Catterall, I think would be a nice fight. I mean, I don't think these guys beat him, but I think they're great dance partners. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a lot of fighters in that division who will push him to where he'll have to fight, and I think that's what I want to see. That's why I'm interested personally in the Rolly Romero fight. I don't care. I'm down to watch it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm down to watch that more than the other ones that could be. I don't want to see no Jack Catterall, man. I don't want to go to sleep.
Right. Well, we don't know what's going to happen with Bozy though. Now that Bozy's involved with Jack, we talking about Catterall 2.0 right now. 2.0 Catterall might be.
I gotta see something. I
gotta like what he did with Echo. Listen, man, come on, man. He did some work with Echo Usman. Come on, man. He put that dude through the ropes.
Let me see one more fight.
I agree. No, I ain't gonna lie. I agree.
Let me see one more fight. For me to say to challenge Devin Haney, yeah, give me one more fight.
No doubt. I'm down with that. I'm down with that. Yo, salute to Just Blaze. I said Just Blaze. Oh my God, Blaze for about Blaze. You just gotta change your name, bro. To Just Blaze, bro. That's what it's supposed to be. It sounds like it's supposed to be Just Blaze. And shout out to Rich, man. Give me 1 second before I bring you guys in. Let me just salute to Warrior Class with the $2 super chat. Says, why will boxing allow Ostarine in a boxer system? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on, man. Maybe we could talk about that as well. I don't know what's happening with this Subriel Matias situation. Like,
no,
I don't know.
No, Clay, they already announced it. So Matias and Dalton Smith is happening. Yeah. That went, I think it happened. They announced it yesterday, maybe, or the day before. But Wednesday, thank you. Because it was like 0 point something. It was like the count for Ostarine was so low. Yeah, right. It was so low that they're like, this isn't even really like illegal. So then the question becomes something like this, Clay. If you were drinking while you were driving, but when you did the breathalyzer test, you were still legally able to apparently drive because it was under the limit. But dude, you're still drinking while you were driving. So morally, is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Like, and that's kind of where it's at.
This is what it is. The New York State Athletic Commission has a 0.1 maximum tolerance of it. And Matias came in with a 0.085. So it was 15,900,000 billion below the I mean, look, this is look. I've been saying it. Ostarine is the dumbest shit anybody could take. I think it's a snake oil PED. I think by the time the WADA put it on their list, it was still not dropped from clinical trials at the time in the 2000s.
If you're gonna do it right, HLD.
I'm just saying it's trash. It's trash that they just put it on there because it was in clinical trials. But in 2013, Ostarine got dropped from clinical. It was not, the efficacy is trash. It does not do what it says it does. There's a lot more drugs out there that you can take that are proven to work, tested, and are subscribed to people for whatever they did. But Ostarine is not. It's not one of them. It's trash. It's pure trash. Zero efficacy. You could take clenbuterol. It's better. You could take ephedra. You could take. I mean, there's a lot more other shit you can take, and it's not highly detectable like this shit is. You can see he got detected 0.085 2 months away from the fight. It just tells you, bro, this is a stupid, it's a dumb drug for anybody to think to take it. And unfortunately, a lot of manufacturers, when they turn off their supply line for whatever supplements that they make, so they're also the same companies who make these underground drugs at night. And then they sell them on the black market. And so the machines are contaminated with this shit. And it doesn't take much for you to get Ostarine in your system to be detected by WADA. As you can see, this was 2 months before the fight at such a damn low level. So I think they have to correct something with it, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Shout out to CJ Rich Boxing with the $5 super chat. Says, hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving. I went ham, no duck. Salute, CJ Rich. Thanks for the support, man.
Isn't that like an oxymoron? You went ham on Thanksgiving, but you didn't eat turkey. You ate ham.
Yeah, that's what he said. I think that's what he said. I think that's his whole entire angle, man. Salute to Rich and Blaze. What's good with you guys, man?
Fellas, happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Too Rich, what's good? You there? Too Rich might not be there. I got a feeling he's not there. You've been having a hard time getting
it's difficult to restream going in and out of this joint.
Yeah, I'm about to switch back.
Yeah, connection and all of that.
Clay, you gave it a try, man.
I did.
Time to go back.
They failed, bro. They're horrible, bro.
But yeah, rapid fire real quick. I think we'll start from what y'all were just talking about. They got to figure something out. They got to figure something out with the Ostarine thing, because it's like, if it's mistaken contamination, then you're messing up boxers' branding. But if they cheat, they cheating. So you feel me? I'm only going, if they say they cheated, they cheated. If they say it was a mistake, it was a mistake, then I move on. I can't really chase it down. I'm not a scientist. We getting conspiracies about what supply chains and swapping out what and getting into what. Like, that'd be too much for me. Obviously, there's a reason why they got Ostarine on the ban list for a reason. You feel me? If it's there, everybody play within the rules.
Generic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why it is. It is there. It's there. People are getting suspended for Ostarine. So, it is what it is. But my thing with the biggest thing that's on my mind right now is there's a great card on December 6th, and I feel like nobody's talking about it enough.
Yeah,
and then
no.
specifically. No, I know, not y'all, not y'all. This is a
Yeah,
different
yeah.
crowd. I'm talking about everybody else. Everybody else.
Mhm.
You know, real talk. And it's interesting enough the implications of the Lamont Roach and Pitbull Cruz fight. Like that's gonna have a lot of implications because of how everybody's moving around in these particular divisions, and the winner and the outcome of that. Because if Lamont Roach pulls it off, right, then he's talking to everybody between 135 and 147 for a super fight. As far as being able to possibly fight Evan, Shakur's moving to 140
Or
to fight Tio, the winner of that fight. There's a whole bunch of implications to that fight, right? But then also too, it's Janabek. If Janabek says what he tweeted, right, and he snatches up all them belts at 160, then he got super fight for Bud, and it might line up in the sense of if Bud rematches Canelo in May, then the next fight for him could be possibly undisputed at 160. Janabek handled his business. Janabek's not a name in and of itself, but if he gets all four belts, then that's a fight. I let my point right there.
No doubt.
hey,
let
Blaze.
me just check with Too Rich. Hold on. Too Rich, you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect. All right, perfect, man. Let me let Too Rich tap in because
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you clear. Do you hear us? Yo, Restream is ass out,
Restream
bro.
is.
I guess you gotta have that primo Wi-Fi in your house for this thing to work.
For it to work.
I'm about to get them out the way, bro. Without a doubt, bro. They about to get out the way. Shelton Moore in the building. I literally, it's so funny because StreamYard hit me up yesterday, like, yo, bro, we're sorry.
Black
about
Friday StreamYard, Clay.
We got a great deal for you if you want to come back, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, we'll find out. But Restream's been a failure, bro. They're not good. Shout out Shelton. How you doing? Let's see if he's in there.
It's not working for Shelton either.
I know Shelton got that Metro one, bro. So I know he
got that retirement. That retirement. It is what it is, man. That's so crazy, man.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say with Blaze. What do you? So let me ask you this, Blaze, because you were there along with me and others watching Terrence Crawford against Canelo. If Janabek is such the real deal that he beats Lara on December 6th, then let's say he fights Adamus next, beats Adamus. Those are like, the back-to-back fights he's been doing is basically the best at 160, right? Making him the best at 160. Is that really the type of fight we would be advising Terrence Crawford to take?
Yes.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
right?
Yes, it is though. But look though, that's the whole thing. Because as long as Bud is active and with his stream, even though he's 38 years old, he's on the back end. He ain't never missed weight. He's always showed up. He's always showed up sharp in the ring. And he's over there, and he showed that clip of them the guys together. So it's like, no, that's the fight that we would want to see. Like, why wouldn't it be? Literally, he skipped it and went here and watched Canelo.
The thing is, I'm just thinking about Terrence Crawford overall's money, right? And in terms of mainstream names, unless there's a way for Top Rank to get out of Tubi, ain't nobody's gonna know who the hell Janabek is anyway. And I love Janabek.
It's all about Turkey's money, though. It's all about Turkey's money. Yeah. Turkey's the only one who's going to be able to felicitate.
Right. But here, let me finish this though, HLD. My point is, this Canelo rematch might be real, and there's probably more money in a Canelo rematch so it's easier money for Bud, and it's more money if he just does the Canelo rematch rather than going back down for more history. Because you know what I mean? Like Bud already created history. So it'd just be extra credit, to do it.
The thing is that there's a rematch clause in this thing. And so it's not up to Bud. It's either Bud to fight him or retire, because that's what it is. And he's not going to turn down whatever 40. Yeah, he's not going to turn down no 40, $50 million.
That's what you want. Think about it. Why wouldn't Bud? That's the best fight for Bud. That's the most money for Bud. And Bud, we finally get to see Bud
and
come out
Canelo.
the ring as reigning undisputed
That's
champion.
what I said.
He gets to come out the ring. We get to see. This is what we see. This is why I want to see it, because I finally get to see him walk out reigning undisputed champion with all those belts. You feel me? As he steps into the ring. That's the more thing. I don't care who he does it with. I thought Canelo, honestly, regardless of the performance, I thought Canelo should have said at that press conference, run it back. It was all his belts. It don't make no sense. It don't matter how bad you get beat. Cats get knocked out and be like, nah, if they got rematch clause, run it back right now. You feel me? Sell it. You feel me? So that's my biggest thing with the thing. And please believe if that fight gets finalized and we finally have a date for it, please believe we'll have the Canelo fan base will come back out and the Bud haters will come back out and they will have all types.
It's gonna
of,
be bigger.
It's
gonna be a bigger fight. It's gonna be a bigger fight.
They're going, and people gonna want to see it. People say they don't want to see it, but people want to see it. Canelo get healthy, he can hype people and believe and he can do something different. So I think that's the fight.
I'm gonna rain on your parade about this, fairy tale story of Bud walking out undisputed now after this fight with Janibek, maybe afterwards. I see a trilogy with this Crawford and Canelo fight. I called it.
That'd be the most money.
I called it that
Canelo got to win though.
And trust me, money makes people do certain things. This fight's gonna be a trilogy. This is gonna be a trilogy. I call that there's gonna be a rematch. Everybody, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see that fight's not happening and Canelo rematch and blah blah blah. And I'm like, bro, if you understand the business, you know that this rematch was happening Cinco de Mayo. It's just gonna happen, and nobody's got a choice about it.
Man, why didn't Canelo not say
that's bravado stuff? It doesn't matter. That's all.
It's
gonna sell no matter what. It's gonna sell no matter what.
I'm not talking bravado. He literally said he got washed. He literally said he couldn't do nothing. He didn't have to say that, bro. Hey, if he would have said, look, if he would have told y'all I won the fight, y'all would have been running around saying he got robbed.
You're gonna say you're not gonna watch the fight because Canelo didn't say that?
I'm going to watch the fight.
Okay,
what are you talking about? I told you I'm gonna watch it. I told you I want to see Bud walk out with all Canelo's belts and run the fade back and beat him again. What are you talking about? I want to see it.
But what does it matter whether Canelo?
Well, I think what he's
because you underselling the fight.
Yeah, he's speaking to the confidence of Canelo right now and saying how confident. Why wasn't he? I think that Canelo was weighing it. I think the fight was difficult for Canelo, man. This is not the kind of fight that Canelo likes to be in. I think that the fight with
anything in the first 5 rounds for any wash out of Crawford. Those
first
5 rounds were as boring as the one versus
your man said we don't gotta listen to y'all when Canelo said Canelo said he was better than Mayweather that day. So what are we talking about?
No, let me tell you something, bro. We can say whatever we want about the punch stats. We can say whatever we want if you thought the fight was competitive or not.
That's the second half it wasn't.
You could not listen. It could be all the above, right? But let me tell you something. We also had to add to it was Canelo's frustration in that fight. You saw him frustrated. You saw him
in the second half. Yes,
you saw him physically. So that showed the difficulty. I've never seen Canelo Alvarez show his frustration like that. I'm sure he's been frustrated, right?
Yeah,
so what I'm saying is stylistically,
Mayweather.
Was he really all into getting back in the ring with Terrence because he knows it's cerebral warfare with Terrence Crawford. That's what it's all about. It's not about the pain. It's not about pain. It's not about him almost getting knocked out. He's down for all that. If he gets knocked out, he'll accept it. He doesn't mind getting punched on. I mean, not anybody wants to just get punched on, but it's this thing right here. I'm not really trying to do this thing right here too much. So now the money makes it make sense. So it is what it is. But the frustration that I think Blaze is talking about that he saw from Canelo, as far as him being reluctant to just call out. To just formally call out Terrence Crawford, like I want the rematch, I want to get back. I think he was literally weighing out whether or not he wanted to get back in the ring with that personally.
Hey, Clay, it looked like he worked on footwork and couldn't do nothing. It looked like he worked on footwork and couldn't do nothing. That's the problem. It was like, hey, there's nothing Canelo can do with Bud's footwork.
We only see the same 3 damn clips of Crawford and Canelo. The same damn 3 clips. It wasn't an ass whooping. It wasn't my God.
Hey, hold up.
It's like Devin Haney was
there. Angelo was there.
Yeah.
We were there, homie. I'm not a clip guy, homie. I was in the stands. I was there. No, he got watched.
You got washed, Toby. He got washed.
I definitely feel like he got washed. 100%. I feel that way.
He got washed.
I didn't see Crawford win any of those first 5 rounds. He won the first round. He won defended was round 6.
Come on, man.
Was round 6.
Everybody saw it.
Here's what I get from Canelo. Canelo couldn't hurt him or hit him like he hit everybody else. Couldn't catch him. right? And then he got washed.
Just
Like
like
that's the
Crawford
thing.
did
That's the main thing where it'd be like he couldn't do nothing. He was
What the heck did
telegraphing and winding up the lead left hook in like the third round, bro.
The first 5 rounds? Absolutely.
What does Madrimov have to do with Canelo
Because it was
getting
the same
washed?
style fight. He didn't
What
do
does
nothing in the
Madrimov have
first
to do
5
with
rounds.
Canelo getting washed?
This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing out here, bro. This is what they're doing out here. They're trying to make excuses for Canelo.
And he's not making excuses
it's
for
the same
himself.
thing
It's crazy.
Man, hey,
it's the same. That what's that guy's name? The what's his name, bro? Eli. What's his name? What's his name, bro? The guy with the boxing channel, the Mexican dude. What's his name? Eli. Ellie Setback.
Bro, he said.
Yeah, I don't know what that guy's name is, right? But when he even tried to amp Canelo, I'm like, yo, man, I scored it. I thought you had. And Canelo looked at that dude like,
no,
yo,
no, I didn't think you know, it was a by either one of the guys.
No, I'm not saying you're doing the same thing as him all the way, but I am saying that there is this consent, and this is what makes the rematch interesting, right? There is a consensus across the space that Canelo could have made some adjustments and beat Terrence or things of that nature, which I think is fair. Look, I don't want to argue anybody's opinion. If you feel like the fight was competitive, I'm okay with that. I don't agree with you. I don't think the fight was competitive.
In the second half, this is what I'm going to say. In the second half, what I want
to say is, if we're going to stay on the facts, we have to be honest on what the facts are. We can speculate on our own speculation, but Canelo physically was frustrated in that fight. He could not do nothing.
In the second half, not in the first 5 rounds. In the second half,
figure it out. But why was
what did he do in the first half?
Hold on, Judge. I mean, hold on, Blaze, pound for pound. He was frustrated when you saw him in the second half because he spent the whole fight trying to figure this dude out and could not do it. It wasn't the first half of the fight. Was part of the frustration in the second half of the fight.
I don't see that.
He just showed it to you in the second half of the fight.
I think Crawford won his rounds more definitively in the second half than what Canelo won in the first half. Because he saw the fight was getting ready to end. He saw that the rounds were going by. It was getting closer to the end. He knew that he was so down and he could not figure that. What Blaze pound for pound is saying is true. He did not call out Terrence Crawford for the rematch immediately. He did not speak on that at the press conference. So why? Because he was weighing out whether or not he wanted to do it or not. That itself is a victory.
Listen, man, if he but what I'm trying to tell you,
maybe because Canelo already knew he had a rematch clause. No matter what,
why he did it. No, I'm not going to tell you why he did it. But what I'm going to tell you is bad business. Because if he got the rematch clause already, he's supposed to just say, "Yeah, man, we'll run it back in the future." Like he didn't want to run it back. Like he was honest, and that's okay.
I don't,
and that's okay. And he got enough juice with the rematch clause to cause it now. But I'm just telling you, I wouldn't even listen, bro. I wouldn't even be able to talk you down if Canelo lied, like some boxers lie, and say like he would have said like, "Bro, I whooped that boy." Forget what y'all talking about. I whooped that boy.
Why didn't even Crawford say there was a rematch clause? Canelo knew. Crawford knew. He didn't have to. It was already in his pocket.
You're still ignoring the fact that he said Bud had everything. I couldn't do nothing.
Good.
He shut down Ellie Setback when he tried to say he won. He could have said, "Hey, man, I thought I won."
That would have been ridiculous.
Exactly. That's the whole point. We're trying to say he got washed. Now you saying he held his own in the first
millions of dollars on the line. All that bravado stuff that you talk about means caca, bro.
We had Bud on the ropes.
All that bravado stuff means nothing when you're talking about the money they're talking about, bro.
But all I'm saying is for y'all, because look, you're gonna have a whole bunch of people who saying I'm saying. You're gonna be arguing with people saying what Canelo
fans are
to
gonna
the fight
turn out.
again.
The same Canelo fans are gonna turn out. The same
Not
Bud
all
fans
of
are gonna come out, and maybe a few more because normally rematches are bigger.
But the thing is, there's going to be fans on both sides. There are going to be more people wanting to see Bud lose again, and then there's going to be rabid-ass people with Canelo. Like, what are we talking about? But Canelo ain't helping y'all, homie. That's the whole point in all I'm saying.
You're talking about
Canelo's
the me and you debating type of shit. That means nothing in negotiation. That means nothing to the business. And you think it's important. It's not.
No, he's not.
No, I don't think it's important.
Hold on. That's not what's being said, HL. I just want you to understand, right? It's not about clearly there's a rematch. First of all, if there's a rematch clause, it still needs Canelo to activate the rematch clause, right? He has to be the one to say, hold on. He did that, right? But he had to do it, is what I'm saying. So his willingness to make the fight happen makes a difference. Secondly, it's not saying that anything's going to stop this fight from happening or that the fight is not going to be a big fight when it happens or that out of money. Me personally, going into it, I feel like it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments Canelo's going to make going into this fight, because he didn't seem confident at the end of the first fight.
Yes.
And that part right there is a part that made the defeat really, it made the defeat really a defeat. Whereas the fan base, no matter how you guys want to say, and I don't even know if you're really a Canelo fan, HL.
I'm not. I mean, you know, I like the English speaking shitting talking Canelo. That made it fun for me.
Right.
So
That's why I said I don't want to put that on you. I don't want to put it on you.
Canelo will win in the rematch. Nobody can even say that right now, because he's been fighting the same way he's been fighting all them bumps. We thought he was gonna step up and be like, "Oh, we got to use something."
Like all the bums that Crawford been fighting. Come on, man,
listen,
stop it.
He washed Canelo and he washed Spence.
See how you don't want to call it,
but he did that.
How many bums has Crawford fought?
We're talking about Canelo and Bud. You feel me?
Hold
That's
on
what
a second.
we're talking about.
Let me
Canelo fighting the same way he fought them guys and getting
washed.
Blaze.
Wait, Blaze. Hold up. Warrior Class 9154, the super chat. Salute, family. Thank you for the support. Says, well, Canelo rematch clause stole out Crawford's momentum towards becoming undisputed at 160 pounds. This fight does not warrant a rematch. So I hear you, Warrior Class. He doesn't care. Yeah, I think there's a lot. Listen, I'm not gonna say most. I don't know, bro. I think most people I know, but I'm gonna say there's a large group of people who just don't feel like this fight was close at all. Me included in that. But that being said, I called it the day after when everybody was talking about other fights. I told you guys this was the fight that Terrence was going to fight next, unless Canelo didn't want it.
And Turkey said rematch before they even finished the fight. What did Turkey say? Turkey said he want the rematch. It's the money fight. One thing about it, there's not one fight bigger than this.
Hold up. We going too far because I got super chats to go through. So just everybody got to hold on a second.
Okay, let's go.
So, you know what I'm saying? So just answering Warrior Class to say that, yes, I agree with you. I think that does it warrant a rematch? I think money-wise for Terrence Crawford, why not? Let's get it in. I think Canelo Alvarez, money-wise as well, he has a 3-fight or 4-fight deal. He has to go ahead and square away with Turkey. This checks the box. Big money. It did well the first time. It'll do great the second time. As far as his 160-pound ambition to become undisputed, I don't know if that's necessarily that important to him. I don't think it would get in the way with it. I think if Terrence wants to get that done, he will get it. I think it makes it easier, to be honest with you, because it gives Janibek enough time to unify the division completely. It makes it even easier for Terrence Crawford to become undisputed rather than him having to potentially fight Carlos Adames or fight Janibek, then fight Carlos Adames. So I think it all works right with each other. Janibek has a fight coming up next week where he'll probably collect another belt from Erislandy Lara. Then he can take his time to coordinate something with Carlos Adames. That'll probably be around the same damn time, maybe a month shy of when Terrence and Canelo does that fight. And then at the end of that, I think it falls right in timing for that to happen. I mean, it is what it is. Shout out to CJ Rich Boxing in the building with $5. And the super chat says, I'm Go Shakespearean on HLD. Full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Okay.
I get it. I get it.
I mean, listen. Just like I told you, Clay, before, like you said, it lines up. He has a rematch with Canelo, big money fight, and then they make the fight as big as possible with Janibek if he got all the belts at undisputed. Like Angelo's saying, he ain't a name, but he got all the belts, so it sells. In the sense of they know it ain't gonna sell as much as Canelo, but it's a legacy fight. It's Bud, and Bud's building his name. You see Bud traveling around the world. See, he was in Uzbekistan and everywhere else. Like Bud's building his brand right now. So when you fight again, he's gonna have people all over the world. You feel me? That's gonna be tuning into this. If you follow
Canelo's career, the way his pattern is, he fights in September, right? And then you don't hear about him till the end of January, maybe February for Cinco de Mayo fight. That's his pattern. He takes the holidays off, and that's that. You don't hear about Canelo until the end of January, beginning of February, what's going to happen for Cinco de Mayo. We are in November still, and we already heard what Canelo's up to. So if you don't think that he wants this,
no, I'm not. Look, I know he wants it. He did it. But what I'm telling you, after that night, he didn't want that, homie. He want it now.
Yeah, he's saying
he paid respect. Yo, he paid respect to the defeat.
I like Canelo, bro. Check it out. Canelo is a great fighter, bro.
Why can't it be seen that he paid respect to the defeat?
Yeah, he did pay respect.
And that's it. And that's it. So damn if you do, damn if you don't. If he would have been on there saying I didn't lose and I think I kicked your ass, you guys would have been saying bullshit about him.
No, 100%. I would have said bullshit. But if you would have said, yo, it's his night, he did his thing, but because he was asked a question, do you want the rematch? He was asked that, and he was like, I gotta see, go
exactly
this and that. He made it, bro. I mean, look, you can take it you can take it as respect. I'm okay with that, right? But I think it's fair
He looked at
for
the tape.
Blaze pound for pound and for other people like me who saw it. I think it's fair for us to see it the way we're seeing. I don't think we're reaching.
All I'm saying is,
I'm not taking away nothing from Canelo for doing that.
Let me think about it. He watched the tape with Reynoso, and he saw that Bud Crawford didn't do jack shit for 5 rounds to win any of those.
And I hope
and then he's like, man, had I stepped on my gas more, had I made it more clearly that I won these rounds,
he would have gotten his ass whooped worse, bro.
I hope he says that. I hope he come out and says, I think I won the fight.
Wait, hold on. HLD,
I really do.
With you saying what you just said right there, it can coexist to what's being said, right? Which is clearly, if he had to go back to the tape to see what it was and then realize that that's a fight he could win, is it safe to say that night he could have went and felt like, damn, I don't know yet if I can do this.
It's professionalism.
That's what he did feel. That's what he said.
His professionalism to come out, that would have looked like crying, whining, sore loser type shit. And he knows his stature.
Come
and
on.
His
Did he say
let me tell you something.
Did he
it
say
ain't Bud Crawford the face of boxing. He may be the king of boxing, but he ain't the face of boxing. Canelo's got a much bigger
celebrity,
where he has to respond.
You talking about celebrity and fans. We talking about skill in the ring.
Yeah, but that's just that.
We talking about
that's not part of it. You don't think Crawford wants that?
No. Well, yes, he wants it. He got it. He got a little piece of it from Canelo. What are you talking about? He still ain't big as Canelo, but he's the biggest he's ever been in his life, and that's all that really matters to him. It's all relative. You feel me?
But again,
Canelo's a very decorated fighter. Canelo got 68 fights. Canelo's been fighting. Canelo's been doing his thing. That's why he gets all the respect in the world, brother.
You don't. You know, now.
No, what I'm telling you is that, hey, man, when you say you didn't have nothing, he didn't have nothing, and do everything, it is what it is, bro. We're just saying what it is.
Why?
Yeah.
To please you.
Salute to everybody in the building, yo. I haven't said it yet, so if you don't know yet, hit the like button, right? If I don't know if I got to tell you yet, do that, right? Like, so I know I haven't said it, but yeah, I don't know if you're waiting on me to say it. There it is.
Miss Rain said it a long time ago. She's the only one probably who said it a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't know, right? And subscribe, right? And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so.
But I'll tell you one thing: Canelo be better off fighting you, Banks.
Why?
Yeah, because at least he has a chance to win.
Man, stop it, bro. You guys don't understand the business. You guys talk like you don't get it. I'm gonna throw away 60, 70, 80 million dollars to fight who?
No, I agree.
Somebody he can actually beat.
To lose and see,
if Canelo did not fight
at this point, you think he really cares about losing?
Nah,
bro?
look, I'm gonna be real with you. If Canelo Alvarez did not rematch,
my point. That's my point.
If Canelo Alvarez did not rematch,
I'm a Bud fan, so give us the easy win.
All right, hold on a second. If Canelo Alvarez did not go for the rematch, I would have looked at Canelo weird. I'm telling you, I said that early. That's what he's supposed to do. It's not necessarily the fight I want to see. It's not about that. Canelo is supposed to get that back. And if he didn't get that back, that was going to be a statement that I don't think the Canelo fans would have been able to deal with, because that would have spoke in a whole different way about Canelo Alvarez and what they think of him. Because I think they think of him at a high level. That would have been crazy for him to go fight Chris Eubanks. It would have looked like he ducked Terrence, even though it would just look bad. I think on the optics, it would have been like, what is he doing? So that's the fight.
No, he would have ducked Terrence. It would have been like we knew he was A-side. We knew he had
get off the horse, bro. Like, can you get off the horse a little bit, bro? Like, you're not partial, bro.
Listen, bro. You're just way too defensive about Canelo, bro. Real talk. Because I'm staying factual.
Blaze, HLD's mad because Canelo didn't get the right butcher to get the meat right this time around, bro.
Oh my god, bro! I don't think Clenbuterol wouldn't have done shit.
Listen, he's not the only one I've heard talk about this. I've heard like Punch talk about. I know a lot of people who I respect in the boxing game who feel like that fight wasn't a blowout. I'm telling you, and I think I don't agree with them, but these are people who I know like watch the sport, so I think it's fair, because I don't think like Terrence Crawford like battered that man, right? But I just think as far as boxing is concerned, he outboxed the living shit out of
the second half. Yes,
that's what I believe he did. You know what I'm saying? And I think when it comes to that, you know, they talk about Devin Haney and the PTSD of what happened with Ryan Garcia. I think there's a potential PTSD that was sparked up in Canelo when he thought about what happened with him and Floyd and what happened with Erzlani. And I think he was like, damn, bro, I legit can't outbox these black motherfuckers. Paul, I mean, not Paul, but I mean,
God,
I think
listen,
that's what I believe. I believe Canelo. I think that's an issue with it, bro. I do.
Hey, you know what I want to mention, because we were talking about Janibek. Yo, you guys scratching off Lara? Are you kidding me?
Not scratching it off, but I think
I haven't heard nobody say, yo, Lara's
I
think Lara's gonna whoop his ass, in my opinion.
No, bro.
I got Janibek.
It's okay. No, I think
Janibek
is nice.
Janibek is not a good fighter,
long
bro.
in the tooth, bro. And Janibek is, listen, he's favored. Period. He's favored to win the fight at a minimum.
Younger.
I know you know that. So.
But this Lara has now he's morphed into what he was, into what he is now, which is now a boxer who has the skill set of a slick boxer, but who knows how to stand in the pocket and blast you. This guy is not he's a different in-tune fighter. And as long as age doesn't really wear him out, because he's not fighting the slick boxer, which will wear him out. He is fighting like, I'm gonna knock you the F out type of dude.
Bro, you're sleeping on the fact that Janibek got power and Janibek got explosion. And by the way,
he's not a better boxer.
Okay, look, first of all, yeah, we could sit here and talk about Lara's resume from the amateur all the way to now. But the fact of the matter is, Lara's inactivity over the last few years doesn't give him an advantage over the fact that Janibek has been not only more active, but Lara's 42, man.
Like
He's
I said,
42, bro.
And Bud is 38. Oh my God. And Usyk is 40. And what?
Look, man. When your boy Lara gets whooped on, you can come back on the channel and tell us how it went.
I'm just letting you know that don't scratch Lara off, bro. Don't scratch Lara off, because this guy is different. He's different than most fighters, especially at his age. He's morphed into different things that he was into what he is today. And his skill set and his experience, he's used it well. When's the last time you see Lara get his ass whooped?
I give him. He don't get his ass whooped. He's a very good fighter. I give him all the respect.
I don't think
Arizona
Lara is going to get blown out by any chance.
He took the fight. You feel me? He took the fight against Janibek, because if he wins, then he's the best at 160. So I respect him for that. In my matter of my opinion, I just got Janibek over Lara. I don't got nothing against Lara. I like Lara's style. You feel me? Really,
I just wanted to throw that in, because I didn't see nobody give Lara like even a
because
chance.
you're not going to get a lot. It's not necessarily giving him a chance, but when we briefly comment on the fight, because that ain't really been the main point. We ain't analyzed Janibek versus Lara. But as we briefly talk about it, we're gonna say, okay, Janibek. You feel me?
Other than age, what does Janibek have over Lara?
I mean, age is enough.
Okay,
if that's what you want to say.
Age, right? He's got power. He's also got an amateur background. He's basically being treated as the next Golovkin. And let me just break it down for you so that you know why we speak this way. HLD. Here's your boy Lara's last few fights. Smaller Danny Garcia, who just retired, Michael Zarafa in 2024, Gary O'Sullivan in 2022, Thomas Cornflake Lamana in 2021. Bro, that shit ain't getting you ready for no Janibek, bro.
And Janibek is
I'll tell you who fought, bro. Janibek just fought the guy who's like top 5 in his division for his rankings, man. What are you talking about?
What's his name?
What are you talking about?
You know
the Frenchman. The French guy, the guy with the blonde beard. Whatever, HLD, man.
Well,
you're trolling, bro. You know what? In fact, I'm gonna say it right now on this channel, Clay. Lara's about to get his ass whooped. Come tell me that it won't be different. 160
is another dead division. Period. Full of nobody.
But it's not about the division, bro. It's about just. I mean, I don't even care to do resumes on here, because Janibek is just.
Oh, I didn't mention it.
Janibek is just a great fighter, right? So I'm not going to sit here and go through the resume and be like, he fought this guy, fought that guy. Erzlani Lara is a fighter who's long in the tooth, bro. His best days, unless we're trying to say that his best days are in front of him, then at the end of the day, we got to be honest. It's fair that Janibek is favored in this fight, and we understand why. Even if it's just the age. If you want to say it's just the age, fine. It's enough. he's favored in my opinion because it's just his
And
time,
rightly
bro.
so.
He's
I'm
a
not
big
saying
dude.
that he
We'll see.
shouldn't be favored. I'm just saying that give the man a this guy is not.
No, I give him a chance. I think I give him a real chance. Facts.
You know,
I'm
he's
not saying
he's capable of outboxing him.
Yes.
And he's capable of stopping him too.
Yeah, he's capable of hitting him with something he don't see coming.
That's all. That's all.
You're right. You're right.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's a favorite, but this is not a unless he blasts him out in 2 rounds, then I'm like, okay, yeah, man, he was really super long in the tooth. Then you know what I mean?
What if he come on?
Really,
if he get out inside
guys.
the first 4 rounds, it is what it is. 4 rounds is bad. It's time for Lara to retire.
Yeah, I don't know these guys that Janabek has fought recently.
The French guy, you don't know the French guy,
right?
Bro,
but the last one's
it's like the French mustard, bro. You know the French
know
mustard, bro.
But his last 3 opponents is what are they? 56-0 and 1.
Yep.
And then he fought for the interim with Stephen
again,
Butler,
man,
32 and 3.
And HLD, man,
So,
like I said, when you go amateur to amateur, yeah, and again, Blaze, HLD's not even talking about the fact that Janabek, because you haven't really studied how good Janabek is. Janabek was fucking the amateur world champion back in 2013. That's how early his amateur career was, bro. He was already whooping on dudes at 160 back in 2013. So I'm just saying, man.
Janabek, because of this deserted in 160 division, to me, he was looking like Tiger Johnson. Is he gonna be something or not? Finally, what is this guy at?
I mean, we don't
what
know
is
who
he?
Tiger is.
I had no high hopes for this guy at all. I'm like, bro,
he's unified champion right now, though. Now he's unified champion at 160. He got 2 belts. That means he's considered the best. I mean, y'all got excuses for all the champions nowadays. Everybody got an excuse for why somebody ain't the best. Everybody, listen. My thing is, we got this metric with the pass and all of that.
Is not.
It's not.
I don't rate Janabek on who he beat. Right. I rate him on how he beats him, how he looks. It's just the eye test because I agree with HLD as far as the division is not a lit division. In other words, he's not beating, you know, the biggest world class fighters. I mean, yeah, on paper, but in real life, like, you know what I mean. But I just think that I think he's a legitimate champion though. And I think Arizona Lara, there's an argument to say that he's holding it down as a champion because how whack the division is, right? I mean, is that guy holding the title? If Errol is there, Jermell Charlo is there. I mean, I don't even know if he beats Tim Tszyu. Does he beat Tim Tszyu? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
It's like the 147 division. Yo, Devin Haney's the man, but it's because look what's at 147, man.
No, I agree. That's why I said the division is going to become more interesting with the additions into the division. I think you bring in Teofimo goes up there, Conor Benn gets up in there, Ryan Garcia, if he can dial in and really, take his boxing career.
It could become a hot division. 147 could become a hot division if these names move on. Teo gets past Shakur, but Teo's not going to be fighting for another belt until he's done with his last fight of top rank. Because if he wins another belt, that locks him in with more time with top rank, and he don't want that.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It's about that time though. I ain't gonna lie. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes into it, man. I got things to do. I didn't want to stay up here forever too long. Guys, subscribe to the channel. Like the channel. Tomorrow I'll be covering the fights. So watch out for that thumbnail. I'll be covering the fights that's going down.
Oh, we got fights tomorrow, good Clay? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we got Ben Whitaker, the Ben Whitaker card. And then but we also have a later in the evening as well. That's gonna be going down, but
thanks for your time, Clay. Like always, Clay. I always appreciate having me on the panel. Ray, man, we'll see what happens when Lara knocks your boy out, man.
All right, we'll see, bro. We'll see.
All right, guys, peace out.
I wish him the best. Salute, peace. Hey, man, another one in the belt, man. Thank you guys for showing up, man. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button if you haven't done so. Subscribe to the channel. Until the next one, it's your boy Clay at ATP Combat Media Show. It's the boxing take. We out.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather.